This is the Outlaw Radio Network.
Admin a la carte or specialized local experts.
Ho, ho, ho. Amen. Outlaw Radio. Keep that music playing. Merry Christmas. Not even December yet. Not even Thanksgiving yet. And we are playing some Christmas music. Makes me so happy.
At least it's tolerable Christmas music.
No, that's good Christmas music, isn't it?
It's tolerable.
Tom, how did I do on Outlaw Radio Network, by the way? K-Dog, Black Tom, Lori, Dennis. Paul will be with us shortly by video. But Tom, don't turn that down here. Tom, how did I do on Saturday night when I sang Corey Taylor Xmas? Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
First time.
Yeah, no, that was fun.
That's some good stuff, isn't it?
The next time you decide to go sing karaoke, let me know.
Oh, I will.
I'm gonna have to make sure I have a designated driver so that I can get myself into the appropriate headspace.
You want to hear the story about what happened after you left?
Oh,
we'll get to some actual topics in a minute.
Oh,
keep that music playing. I think it adds festivity to the show.
What did I miss?
So you remember the girl that I was talking to, the brunette girl that was the singing girl that was sitting up there, and I kept going up and talking to her?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear my 31-year-old son was at the bar, complained about that was the first time that him and his dad had ever been in the same bar at the same time, hitting on the same girl?
Oh, no.
He thought I was hitting on her, which I wasn't. I was just being friendly.
Right.
Anyway,
I could see how he might have missed.
So at the end of the night, after most people had left, it was me, him, and then my friend Kaylin and her boyfriend Andrew.
Yep.
We're all sitting around the table, just kind of hanging out, getting ready to leave.
Right.
And she walks up to my son. That girl walks up to my son, looks him dead in the eye, and she says, and I quote, "Just so you know, I really want to sleep with your dad." And then turned and walked away.
Oh, man.
That's why I'm wearing this shirt tonight. Arrive, raise hell, and leave.
Damn.
Yeah. Hello, radio.
What does that do to a father-son relationship?
Listen, it just proves that I still got it. She was 33.
I know.
He's 31.
Yeah.
I'm 53.
And
I still got it. Still got it.
That's what she said.
That is exactly what she said. Thank you, Dennis. Outlaw Radio. Before Paul gets here, let's just talk about him behind his back. You know, we do that with politicians all the time. We talk about people behind their back. Let's talk about Paul behind his back, shall we?
We do that with Paul.
Yeah, but let's talk about him. But what do you really think of Paul?
I like Paul.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I like everyone associated with our show.
I asked Lori earlier what she thought of Paul.
What?
And she said that he reminds her of hemorrhoids.
Oh, never.
He's an and she said, and I quote, "He's an irritating ass," is what she said.
Oh,
so didn't say it.
Yeah, that's what Lori said, and I have no reason to lie. Joining us by video is the one and only St. Paul, the voice of reason. Hello, Paul.
You know, it's clear that not everybody in studio has a real sense of humor. And that's okay because it takes all types to put on a show, doesn't it, Kevin?
It does. It does.
Or should we call you Daddy?
Where are you right now?
I'm sorry, what was that, Daddy?
Where are you right now?
Oh, well, Daddy, I'm on my way to pick up my son from wrestling practice.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a seatbelt. That's what that was. I was like,
I thought maybe him and his wife were engaged in some adult role playing tonight.
No, I thought he was like in one of the outbuildings or something.
Sorry for the dark.
That's a seatbelt.
You know.
Now turn the light back off. You look much better in the dark. Just ask your wife.
Man.
You won't see anything as long as I don't smile.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm a little concerned about being able to have you on the show while you're driving to go pick him up. Do you want to call when you're done?
No.
Because do you think we're going to be able to maintain contact with you there?
Well, listen. Here's the thing. If it gets a little bit spotty, I'll just dial back in. I mean, I'm only 15 minutes away from, you know, where he's wrestling at. So
I was going to say, don't say you're 15 minutes from civilization.
yeah. Well, that's not. Yeah, there's something to that statement, isn't there, Tom? But I'm not gonna leave that one alone. So it's all good.
Yeah,
So-
you're already starting to digitize. You're already starting to digitize out on us, by the way.
I'm not digitizing. All I did was get out of my car.
I'm saying you already started to digitize out. How is life in the world of Paul out there in the middle of BFE?
Well, first of all, it's not BFE, but I can tell you that I spent a whole lot of time yesterday preparing for this freaking near typhoonish blowhard BS thing. And I do know. Well, here's the thing, man. This part of Puget Sound.
And he's gone.
Yep.
All right.
I think what he was about to say is,
Paul, Dennis, mute him just so he doesn't come back middle sentence. And
There we go. Anyway, so
okay, he's he's moving again. Would you unmute him, Dennis? See, Paul, you already froze.
Oh, shut up, Kevin.
You did.
I'll call you daddy all night long. I know. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. Because I pulled out of my driveway and it was my internet switching from my internet at the house to the internet on the phone. Just relax, brother. Relax. I get that you're still all kind of worked up over some 31-year-old chick wanting to straddle
33.
play daddy, but you know, we're doing a radio show here, bud, right?
Some of us are. All right, buddy. So tell me, Paul.
Yes.
We're going to get to the larger conversation about Ukraine later in the show. But I
sure,
want to
that's
ask
definitely
you
a good
about
conversation.
just because we're halfway in this segment and just getting started. I want to ask you about a very interesting pick that Trump made for his cabinet.
Got a couple of them.
That has baffled me. Like most of his picks I get. Okay?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Why does he pick the wife of the guy that started WWE?
Uh-huh.
And
that's the pick that baffled you? Like
that is the one that's the one that confuses me the most.
You're like, what WTF? Listen, here's the thing, man. She's run for office.
Hold on, pause. So listeners know who we're talking about. Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince McMahon. She served in the Trump administration the first time around, but she was tapped earlier this week to be the education secretary. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, is there anybody better suited to take a loser organization that doesn't necessarily belong, that constantly feels like, you know, it's got your kids cheating on you, and it should be made to go away? I mean, I think she's perfect for the job. And she's huge on education and the federal government not being involved in it. I mean, from what I understand, part of the point of putting her in the position is so that she could ready the Department of Education to go back to the states. I think it's a wonderful idea. I'm actually a little bit surprised here. Of all the people, you could be like, what? Right? Like you picked Linda McMahon. I actually understood the pick of Linda McMahon.
Every other pick he's made makes sense. Not that I agree with it, but they all seem to make relative amounts of sense to me. Like, I thought Tulsi should have been given a little higher post. I thought Elise Stefanik could have been given a little bit of a lower post. I thought the Matt Gaetz pick was interesting, but not. I mean, I understand why he did, even though I think it's his most controversial pick. But I thought Linda McMahon, given her role in the previous administration, would have been the perfect head for the SBA, the Small Business Administration, or something business related.
Yeah, that SBA would not have been a bad pick.
No, I think it would have been perfect for her. Danny froze again.
That was kind of a weird sounding.
Yeah, he got T-boned by a moose. I listen. The fact of the matter is, I don't dislike Linda McMahon in any position in Trump's cabinet, right? Like first of all, I don't know enough about her to know what she can or cannot do, right? But I just, with her business acumen and what she's done business wise, I thought, okay, head of the SBA. That would have made a lot of sense to me. That's what I expected. And in the last week and a half, that's what I'd been hearing. That's what I'd been reading online, is that Linda McMahon was kind of the foregone conclusion pick to head the SBA.
And then she ends up with
The Department of Education. And it's weird, right? Because you're with her, with the dude that they picked to run the EPA, whoever they tapped to run the IRS, he's picking people whose goal is to diminish or dismantle the agency.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to at least shrink it.
Well, education and ecology, the EPA, they want to get rid of them. They don't even want them around anymore. They want them to not be in existence.
Yeah, and
after this presidency.
You know, and it's funny.
As a libertarian, it gives you an erection, doesn't it?
Not the EPA though.
Really?
We need to keep the EPA.
Okay, tell me why.
California in the 1970s.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, the EPA doesn't need to be a giant, bloated, bureaucratic monster.
Paul's back with us, by the way.
But it does still need to be there. We need the oversight for.
Wait a minute. I don't understand you.
Technologically,
Yeah.
we're advancing very quickly.
Yes.
Okay, that's going to bring about
That's because of the
waste, new waste, new hazardous conditions, etc. There needs to be some semblance of a study there to just make sure everyone's playing by the rules.
But hold on. You're okay with the EPA being there because
yes,
there has to be some guardrails to protect us from effing each other over.
Right.
But you don't want the FDA to be there. You don't want there to be a lot of worker rights or protections. I mean, doesn't that theory apply to every other thing that we could be doing based on how we grow as a society, as technology advances, as big business gets more in the profit margins?
My big take on that is accountability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you as an employee at wherever it is you're working, you're responsible for your relationship with that employer.
Okay.
However that works out. If you and your fellow employees decide to unionize, cool. If you don't, cool.
Yeah, by the way, let me ask Boeing how the union worked out as they just announced they're laying off 16,000 workers right before Christmas. Great job, guys. But go ahead.
Yeah. So there's a difference between, protecting workers, because I think workers need to protect themselves, and then somebody looking out for Bambi. Right.
Okay.
Bambi can't speak up for Bambi's self.
You mean like unborn children?
He's an environmentalist, Paul. Did you know that?
No,
Who?
Tom, he's the libertarian environmentalist.
First of all,
It's like being a tall midget.
There's nothing wrong with being an environmentalist. Why is Jeremy there? Are you comparing heights?
No, I said calling himself the environmental libertarian is like calling somebody a tall midget. Like they're conflicting ideas. They don't work together.
Not at all, Kevin.
You don't
Not
think so?
at all. No. I mean, who do you think the tree huggers are? The dude that chains himself to a redwood tree, right?
They're not libertarians.
Yeah, how do you know? Have you asked them? Do you even know any?
No, I choose who I hang out with. I'm discerning about who my friends are, like you.
And I would not chain myself to a tree. So I
would not?
I would not.
Tom, you're killing my point. I'm trying to come to
You're
your
an
defense.
elitist.
I'm sorry, buddy. I don't mean to be killing your point, Paul.
You're an elitist, Tom.
I'm an elitist?
Yeah. You want the government to do what you're unwilling to do yourself. You want the government to protect the trees, but you won't do it yourself.
Well, they got to
That's
do
what you
something for the tax dollars they earn. Because
My goodness.
Sean said Tom's not an environmentalist; he's a conservationist.
that's fair. That's I think I can relate to that.
So,
more.
do we need the ATF?
No.
Okay. Do we need
ATF is an interruption in personal accountability.
Do we need the Department of Education?
That should be state.
Okay, so we don't need that on a federal level.
Nope.
Do we need the Department of the Treasury?
No.
Not at all.
Well, We need an IRS. I mean, someone's got to handle
you
money.
want people to get their
Department of
checks
Treasury,
checked.
yes. Fed, no.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was.
That's better. That's better. Yeah, he got it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Fed, no.
Kevin would be like,
Treasury,
"Where's my
yes.
paycheck? I didn't get my paycheck."
Right. I mean, someone's got to sign the check for our soldiers and stuff. So, but
Yeah.
the Fed, no, and we shouldn't confuse the Fed with the Department of Treasury.
No, it's two completely different.
100%, Tom. Yep.
Two completely
100%,
different.
Tom.
You know,
100%.
Paul, we talked about the Fed on the show on Sunday, and I don't know if Tom ever went back and listened to the show, but we found out that there are 14 members of the Fed,
Governors.
or 14 governors of the Fed,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they are appointed to, what was it? Or maybe there's
10-year
12
term?
members, and it's like a 14-year term.
14-year. Yep.
And they're
Yeah.
picked every 2 years. So there's like a rotating Fed group. Every 2 years they
Okay.
pick somebody.
So
Or
someone
some-
new, someone drops off, someone new comes in.
Yeah.
Every 2 years.
Except-
But that means
Okay.
Can I add this though to that? And
Yes.
and Geithner was a perfect example. He was a governor in one area, and when his term was up, he just moved to the governorship in another area. So it's your comment, Kevin, about a rotating door for these people. I mean, that's like once you're in, you're like, it's like being a member of Yellowstone Ranch, right? You're branded and you're in.
it would probably depend who the administration was that appointed you the first time. And if it's a like-minded party when you come back up again.
I think the problem is we don't know enough about it to render an opinion, do we?
No. we
Because
don't.
they're more secretive than the freaking Freemasons.
The Bilderbergers.
Yeah, right.
You've never
Maybe.
heard of the Bilderbergers, Tom?
Bilderberger?
Tom has never heard of the Bilderbergers, Paul.
Well, I mean, listen, not everybody's into, knowledge. So,
Wow.
don't
Okay.
wait. No, I'm not knocking you, but it's one of those things. It's one of them corners of our reality that unless you specifically go looking for it, the Council on Foreign Relations, unless you go looking for the Grove in California, down in my wife's neck of the woods, just a few blocks from where my wife grew up. If you don't know some of these certain things, you wouldn't know anything about it unless you specifically went looking for it. Dude, it is not on you.
Yeah, the Bilderbergers are part of this idea that there's a cabal that runs the entire world.
They're part of the idea that there's a new world order. Yeah.
Yeah, the New World Order.
Yeah, I've not heard it as the Bilderbergers, but I've heard that idea that
Oh.
there's some faceless cabal out there. But
Oh, I have to pause. Can I pause really
Yeah.
quick? I didn't read this before the show. Dennis, I need to record this and put this before our intro on hour one. The Outlaw Radio Network is a bunch of friends talking politics, current events, sports, and anything else that interests us. Political correctness is not allowed. So adult topics will be discussed, and on the streaming side, adult language may be used. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. The views expressed during tonight's show do not necessarily reflect the views of our sponsors, station management, our guests, or even each other. Or they do. Don't sue us. All right. I'm going to give that one a shot.
Before you go back, there's a lively chat going on about Tom's tree hugging days,
Oh,
oh no.
started by your aunt Nancy.
instead of Black Tom, we're going to call him Tom the Tree Fornicator.
And then Kevin Nelson wants to know if the tree hugged back. And then
Did you get consent from the tree?
Sean
Never.
Sean said I need to call him a tree hugging, granola crunching, Birkenstock wearer in college.
and I was.
What's that, Paul?
Non-leg shaven.
Yeah, non-leg shaven. Yeah.
I still don't shave my legs.
Well, but I'm
Wait,
curious,
do
Paul.
guys shave their legs unless they're swimmers?
No,
or
some
runners?
guys.
Cyclists too.
Cyclists,
Yeah.
yeah. Swimmers, runners.
Yeah, people that own Teslas so that the wind resistance is low and they have to push it. Tom, I'm curious. Did you get consent from that tree before you hugged it?
Which tree?
Whatever tree you were hugging. Like, did you get consent,
I-
or have you assaulted a tree?
I've assaulted many a tree.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Either hugging them or using them as a backstop
dude.
in target
Wow.
practice.
Choice of words. Choice of
I'm just
words.
waiting for Holly to find out that you assaulted a tree. You forced it into physical close
I caught
contact
a
without his
special
consent.
Then I picked up the 1-inch drill and
Oh,
Used
there's
it.
photos of Tom with a Dutch boy haircut.
What?
Sean, send them to me. I will
There's
share.
no photo of Tom with a Dutch boy
I
haircut.
bet you there is. If there is, I will pay $25 for that photo. Send it right to
It
me.
wasn't a
Really?
Dutch boy. It was a Dutch girl.
That's right.
I'm not sure where you got pictures of me with a Dutch boy haircut because I can't
I don't
recall having ever had a Dutch boy haircut.
By the way, you guys know how I know I raise my kids properly?
How?
I asked my youngest daughter today if she'd done the dishes,
Mhm.
and she just looked at me and she screamed, "Aaron Rodgers!" And I knew they were washed. So, yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Oh man.
All right. Coming up in about 5 minutes, we're going to get into what's going on in Ukraine. And if you think that Ukraine does not matter, Putin may have a different idea. And we'll talk about some decisions that Biden has recently made, some decisions the British also have recently made, which really risk the ratcheting up of what's going on in Ukraine.
Tom's going to get upset because he's going to have to acknowledge some fundamental facts finally.
Finally?
Wow.
Finally?
Yep. For the last year and a half, Tom's been like, China won't do nothing. China won't do nothing. China needs the rest of the world. China won't do nothing. I mean, he's going to have to acknowledge some basic fundamental facts.
Well, actually, if you remember, I made a comment in our chat. I know what you're talking about now, but we'll save that for when we get to it.
Yes, absolutely. And this is why I always had girlfriends, because I know how to tease.
Really? That's how this show's going to be. That's how this show's going to be. All right.
Hey, listen. Anybody that's proud to walk around and be called daddy, no, you don't know. No, bro.
Dennis, Paul has now referred to me daddy 7 times during this show. We will only use Christmas bumps now for the rest of the show. I don't know why Paul gets to take the thing I hate and continue to use it, but I'm not allowed to have Christmas music.
Hold on.
So fair is fair.
You proudly acknowledged live on air that some 31-year-old
33
big deal about it with your son. And so the comment was very crystal clear. She
did not say daddy. She said I really want to sleep with your dad. But that does not give you permission to say daddy 17 times in the first half hour of the show.
No,
I don't know who the hell you think you are.
Girl, you were proud of the fact she used a derivative of the word daddy. That's it.
No, I'm proud of the fact that I still have it. I know you've forgotten what it's like to have it because you've been married twice and lost it. But
I get it, dude. I get it, man. I understand what if when you wake up one day and you go, oh, God, that was great, man. She called me dad to my son. That was so epic. I mean, I hope that when you got up like out of bed in the morning, you had that WTF, what did I do moment, you know?
You're not a good person. That's all I have to say.
No, I know it's true.
You're not a good person. It's true. But that's okay because I will have vengeance. We will have Christmas music for the rest of tonight's show. All right, coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're going to head to break. When we come back again, the situation in Ukraine. We'll also talk a little bit more about Biden because I question whether or not he should be making any decisions at this point.
Right?
That's a fair question, Kevin. That is a fair question.
Because I feel like if we've asserted the fact that he was not mentally competent to run for re-election, why is he mentally competent to still be running the country before he hands over the reins of the White House to a dude he hates and wants to fail? We'll talk about all that in a minute. But first, some Christmas music. It's Outlaw Radio. We're back after this. Ho, ho, ho!
I hope there's adults here.
That's what she said.
Hopefully Dennis plays the Daddy Christmas.
All right, comments in chat. Margie wants to know where Paul's driving. The answer is the rest of us crazy. Nancy said it's no problem. Biden isn't making the decisions. Okay. All right. I can't argue that. I mean, it's just as likely that the elite leadership above him is pulling his puppet strings. Lilat said, gross Christmas bumps. Why did you mess this up, Paul?
It wasn't my fault. It was all Daddy's.
Yeah, Kevin Nelson said I would have expected Biden to announce his resignation by now. I'm kind of surprised he didn't.
Well, Kamala's on
He's not
vacation in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. Well, wouldn't you go to Hawaii when you had your ass waxed in the election?
Oof.
Wow, that visual, Kevin. Holy cow.
I mean, it wasn't even close. Nancy
Picture
says
the
they've been
first
pulling Biden's
gentleman.
puppet strings for 4 years.
Yeah, they have been.
Doug Emhoff sitting there going, I think I missed one with a pair of tweezers, you know?
Oh, she got filleted, man. That's all. I mean, it wasn't even close. Like the fact that she took the fact that she lost every single swing state, all 7 of them. Nobody saw that coming.
Did she? I thought she won one of them.
Nope, she lost all
Okay.
7 swing
Nope.
states.
Okay.
And DNC insiders are coming out and saying that she knew she was lost for the race, or had lost the race, I believe, a month before the election.
I had seen an article that was to something of that
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
it didn't come out and say it. Of course, it was pre-election.
Oh,
but
well, yeah. The one that I posted today, she came out and she said it. And
But I don't know if I believe that. I don't think anybody knew a month ahead of time.
well,
I mean,
no,
listen-
she didn't. She's part of the finance committee, but she said that the leadership, like Kamala, knew a month ahead of time.
Does anybody really? I mean, that sounds like an excuse a loser would come up with. Well, I knew I lost a month
Yeah.
ago. Right now, you're probably right. She probably did say that, but when you put it in perspective, it seems awfully odd. You know, like okay, so if you knew you lost a month ago, then explain to me your wasting of $1 billion of donor money.
Right?
Explain to me paying $5 million to Beyonce and $2 or $3 million or whatever it was to Oprah. Explain wasting our money. If you knew you had lost, yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Tom.
15 seconds.
Yeah, and didn't I hear she ended like 20 million in the hole?
Yeah. she
Yes.
is.
All right,
She's
hold on.
still asking
Coming
for
back on
money.
AM, I'll give you guys a rebuttal to this in a sec. Outlaw Radio.
Yep.
Nope.
This is the Outlaw Radio Network.
Ladies, you need someone to fill your stocking. Sorry. Anyway, we were talking on the Facebook side about the election.
And this has nothing to do with somebody's sock drawer.
No. Cuddle-lang. Listen, the fact of the matter is, anybody who says they knew a month ago that Harris, even if Harris said it, is a lie. She lost by 1.7% of the vote.
Right.
I mean, I know we're talking in the neighborhood. She only lost by, now that all the numbers have come in, she only lost by about 2.5 million votes.
Only.
But I'm saying it was 5 million on election night. So
Yeah.
so more of the numbers came in and consolidated down. She only lost by 2.5 million votes. It's only 1.7%.
But here's the thing, and there's a reason why she could have known, right? She could have known because they knew what the numbers were like in just a few places. Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin. Like if they knew what the numbers were like in a few swing states, that was indicative of so many other locations. I think they were able to, reading the tea leaves. If it's true, if she really knew, that's all I'm saying. So maybe she did know, or maybe at the very least they had an idea, right? But again, it still doesn't justify wasting millions of taxpayer donated money. Like, can you imagine what she would have been like as an executive if she so quickly and freely will just blow through people's money?
Oh, I think I know exactly what it would look like because we've been watching that. His name is Jay Inslee. I mean, it's the exact same thing.
I mean,
Yeah, that's a fair point.
She was part of the government in California, which has been bankrupt for how long?
Well,
At least
there
a
was,
year.
there was an interesting set of circumstances that happened in California. I didn't hear about this until tonight. So I do not remember the name of the town, so forgive me. But you guys know that California passed the state law, because Governor Newsom is brilliant like this. They passed the state law that forbid any city in California or county from requiring voter ID. Okay. Do you guys hear about that?
No, but I'm not
Yes.
surprised.
Okay. So
did.
here was the reason. They did it because one city had discussed, I think it was Vallejo. Anyway, started with a V, I think. Anyway, so one city had discussed the idea of doing it, and they put it on their ballots, and it passed. Okay. So the state got pretty pissed off about that and took them to the state Supreme Court. You know what the state Supreme Court ruled?
What's that?
Yeah, if the city wants to require voter ID, they have every right to. Which, that's a big deal in California, right? Like, we're going to tell you, you can't require voters. You are not allowed to make sure the people voting are who they say they are. City says, well, we're going to F you if you're going to try to stop us. Oh, it passed. Wait, you're going to try to stop us now? Fine, let's go to court. We win. You know, I mean, I won't even say only in California, right? Because I could absolutely believe it if Jay Inslee did that to some town, like, you know, I don't know, Wenatchee, right? You can't do that. Well, we want to do it. You can't. Well, we have 50% of our people here illegally. We just want to make sure everybody that votes is legal to vote. No. Wait, they did it? You know, I mean, it's I mean, before this election, we talked about frequently how up is down and down is up now, man. This country has lost all sense of itself. And I think what's happening right now is at MSNBC is a really good indicator. Have you guys heard about what's happening in MSNBC?
No.
With their ratings?
They have lost almost 1/3 of their regular viewers.
Yeah.
Their ratings are in the tank. And CNN is even worse. CNN barely managed to crack the top 10 in the 23 to 35 demographic.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Yeah.
But I mentioned this on the show a couple weeks ago, man. I'm not surprised. Listen, I mean, the Democrats essentially got their asses handed to them nationally. They lost the White House in a dominating electoral college vote, at least. They didn't pick up the House. They lost the Senate. If I'm a lib, the last thing I want to do is watch the news and be reminded of this every day. Like, I think they're taking a respite. They're going to come back. I don't want to underestimate the power of the left to rally around itself, because in 2 years, they're going to have 2 years of a record to run on and to run against. So the Republicans have to make sure that record is sterling if they want to keep the gains they've got, because it's all cyclical. But I don't think the Democrats have gone away. I just think they're nursing their wounds. They're licking they're licking themselves.
No, they're
Friday night at my house.
I've read a couple of interesting articles that the left has lost touch with, like, the working American, the average working, Bernie
said that.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders came out and said that the week after the election.
Right. But, and there have been other, Democrats that have said, the problem is the progressive voice is very loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and everyone assumes the progressive voice is speaking for the DNC when maybe it's not, but the progressive voice is what has put Trump back in office.
And look, how many times have I said something along those lines on this show, and I get blown up in the chat? You're a Republican. You're a closet conservative. No, I'm not. I'm a moderate Democrat. I'm who the Democrat Party used to be.
Right.
And I hate to say that Bernie and I agree about anything, because Bernie's too left for me. Like, I like the guy. He seems like he'd be great drunk at a karaoke bar. But I mean, I agree with him 100%. The Democrat Party went all, I don't mean woke in a bad way. I just mean woke to explain the policies. You can argue if they're good or bad or not, but they went way woke and they went way progressive, and they forgot about the people in the middle of the economic class and basically said, you guys get to pay for everything.
Well,
and lied about, well, we're going to make the rich pay for things. No, you're not. I mean, you might make them pay a little bit more, but a majority of the taxes and the things that they passed fell on the backs of the working class.
Well, that and the things that they were trying to pass were all for small minority groups, not and let's just talk student loans. What's the percentage of the United States population that is sitting on student loan payments right now? Anyone know?
No, do you?
I do.
Isn't it like 17% or something like that?
No, it's 35.
Okay,
35% of America has a student loan debt that they need to pay.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, if you're asking 65% of the country to pay off the debt of 35% of the country, how popular is that idea?
I hate to break it to you though.
Really popular for 35%.
Yeah, it's popular for a minority.
If you look at this, if you look at the history of the Democrat Party,
Mhm.
that's where they've made their money. That's where they've made their name
Previously,
No,
not
but
not
I
in
mean-
this not in this day and age of
No,
social
but
media.
I'm just saying
though.
throughout history though.
Right.
Listen, they advocated for minority equality in the 60s. Minorities were only African Americans were only 11 or 12% of the country at the time. They advocated for women's suffrage in the 20s, but women less than 30% of the country backed women's suffrage in the 20s.
Right,
Democrats, I'm just saying, Democrats have made a history of taking a maligned group of people and attempting to align with them to bring them up for the better good. It's worked for them in the past. It's not now.
But women's suffrage, that's half the country.
Yeah. Well, but
Okay.
but most you look at the polls from back then.
Oh, I know.
Most women did not want suffrage.
Right. Oh, I know.
Now you can argue Stockholm syndrome, all that kind of stuff. I'm not getting into the whys, but I'm just saying if you look at the polling that they had done, and it could have been manipulated polling too, but most women did not want suffrage.
Right. No, I know that.
Yeah.
But it's still,
And as Heidi Hot Sauce and I agree, that was the beginning to the end for this country. But go ahead. Letting women have the right to vote. What are you people thinking?
You know what's nuts is that I've had that conversation has come up. I've had that conversation with other people because the radio station,
Mhm.
and I've said, well, I mean, this was said, and I've had other women say, yeah, that's a good idea. And I scratch my head at it because I'm kind of with Lori on this one. Yeah, it's half the country.
You can rule with logic,
Yeah,
or you can rule with feeling, but
Well-
you cannot run with both.
Well, we know how the feeling part's worked out for you Democrats, right, Kev?
That's why our country swings on a pendulum.
Yep.
Because we have a very common sense party and we have a very emotional party, and we just swing back and forth between those two.
Do you know what happened? I'm gonna piss people off in the chat. I'm not even gonna look at the chat tonight. Do you know what would have happened in this country
Dun, dun, dun.
if women could have voted during the Civil War?
Yeah, we wouldn't have gone to war because those women wouldn't have wanted
don't
their
know.
husbands and sons to go fight.
You know, Lincoln wouldn't have won a second term
Mhm.
for sure.
No, it'd have been different.
Look, we don't know. There's no way for us to know the mood of the country on a personal level that much at a time when, like you said, Kevin, women couldn't vote. Slavery was a massive issue. People's conscience was, I mean, there was a whole movement at that time based on consciousness and what you believe about things. The abolitionist movement was gigantic. You look at a guy like Frederick Douglass and the way he moved groups and people when they met him, there's just no telling, because women are a more emotional, less objective group, right? They're just as creatures, as people, they are more emotional, right? At least that's what we like to think. And I tend to believe that they are more emotional than men, and everything. Both have their place. But I just, while I understand the conversation, I don't think it does us any good to really try to get into the heads of other people. Does that make sense? Because we can't, and it's all. I mean,
Well, you
granted,
can't-
radio, right? That's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to speculate and we're supposed to talk about it and stuff. But I'm
Well, you
not
can't-
sure that it's healthy. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, I don't think you can get into the head of a person, right? I mean,
I've had a few
individuals.
women over my lifetime that have, but
Yeah,
it was good. Don't get me wrong.
I missed halfway. You said I think you were cracking
It's
us funny,
okay.
but
Rent free, baby.
Kevin,
Rent
Kevin
free.
got it. Kevin got it. Kevin got it.
I didn't hear it either.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Tom.
no. So I don't think you can get into the head of one person, right? I mean, people individually are very smart.
Yeah, it
but,
was a few
but when
women,
you
and they did a good job of it.
but when you start talking about groups, they're supposed to share a common interest. You can try to get into that group think head because they're supposed to share a common idea.
Let me read some comments from chat really quick. Lila, I'm sorry, Lord, are you going to say something? No, go ahead. No, please, no, please do. No, please do.
Please,
woman, I give you permission. Go ahead, speak.
Oh boy.
All right.
You.
Lila said the DNC didn't go left or woke. It's ridiculous to say that since they had no policy towards either. They went right. They ran a moderate conservative campaign. They accepted the endorsements of the Cheneys, like WTF. You bought into right-wing sauce without looking at what the Harris-Biden campaign actually said. Lila isn't wrong.
Correct.
Well, Lila isn't wrong in the sense that the Harris campaign did suddenly adopt a whole bunch of things that Trump called for first, right?
Yep.
Right.
Like Trump said, why are we taxing tips? And then suddenly 2 weeks later, Harris is out there like, we shouldn't be taxing tips. Well, yeah, because Orange guy said it 2 weeks ago. But there is a perception among the average voter, whether Lila agrees with me or not, I really believe there's a perception on the average voter. The Democrat Party is running to the left. Now, I'm not saying it's true or not, but the perception is there. And it comes from issues like the trans debate. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not trying to argue the issue. But it comes from issues like the trans debate. It comes from issues like Palestine. It comes from issues like increased taxes. It comes to issues like failing to drill for gas domestically and import it in instead. Like there are things that the average American looks at and thinks these are representative of the Democrat Party platform and what Democrats want to give us and why I can't vote for Kamala Harris in this election.
Yes.
Well,
Now,
a great example, Kevin, a great example is Rep. Nancy Mace and the bill that she put through, right? Where she specifically put this bill into place that said people in Congress and in the congressional buildings are required to use bathrooms based on their sex at birth. She did that because there was a trans woman that was elected to Congress, and she was interviewed on it, and she absolutely doubled down. She says, "Look, you believe whatever you want, but I'm not having a man with a penis in my bathroom. Period." She's like, "I'm a survivor of sexual violence. I'm a survivor of rape and sexual assault, and I will not go in to use a bathroom in a place where I deserve to be safe and be concerned about looking over and seeing a penis hanging out there." She's like, "I'm not going to do it." So,
and it is amazing to me, Paul, that the party that swears to protect women and swears to protect their bodily choices and their right to their own decision making and taking guns away from accused domestic abusers and all of that stuff. When it comes to women who may not feel comfortable in the bathroom because there is a person with male body parts in there who identifies as a woman and it makes them feel unsafe because of whatever trauma or experience they've been through, the response that they get is, get over yourself, you transphobe.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Because, and you're right, Kevin, you hit on exactly the right point. You've got a group of people who have decided there's a hill that they're going to die on, and that hill is protecting trans people from perceived phobias, when it has, in reality, nothing to do with phobias, right? The fact that I don't want a man stepping into the bathroom with my daughter in there. That's what it has to do. I don't want a man getting into the boxing ring with my daughter. I don't want a man getting into, as we've seen, these girls get incredibly hurt playing rugby and volleyball, right? By these individuals that are men but claim to be a woman, And here's the kicker to me, man. It's an incredibly small percentage, right? 0.2% or something like that. It is an incredibly small percentage. Okay, it's a small percentage. Stop holding on to it, right? The majority of people don't agree to you. So stop holding on to the issue. I think it's you're holding on to an issue that 3% that applies to 3% of the population. You want to advance an unpopular theory based on an incredible minority of people, right? I mean, they're the ones that always like to use the word democracy, right? What is democracy? Majority rules. Power to the people, right? Has nothing to do with the fact of representative republic. But when people start, using democracy as a way to trounce on the rights of the supermajority, people are going to push back, and that's part of what we've seen, isn't it?
Well, and again, I just keep coming back to what you were talking about a moment ago, Paul. Like, if you're a woman who's been the victim of sexual violence, and a man walks into the restroom, regardless of how they identify, right?
That punchline writes
And
itself.
I'm not knocking the person who identifies as what they identify with. That's not what this is about. But if you're a woman who's been through any type of sexual violence, and you're in the bathroom, and somebody walks in who's a man, has the characteristics of a man, looks like a man, talks like a man, walks like a man, but identifies as something else, you can't tell me that's not triggering.
Like a man? Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
but in a women's restroom, you wouldn't see it. Remember, the women have stalls; they don't have urinals.
Right.
Look, that doesn't apply to every bathroom either. Okay. Like, I mean, having ran the swimming pool at Olympic High School, I can tell you, and the athletic bathrooms, it's not the case, man. They're big and they're open, especially where you have showers.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
So,
but I'm just saying, if you're a woman who's suffered any kind of sexual violence, how is that not triggering? How is that not scary and painful and awful and reliving? And what percentage of women in our society have been the victims of some type of sexual trauma?
It's a high percentage, unfortunately.
It's
I don't know what it is.
very
but I'm sure
uncomfortably high percentage.
Yeah.
I want to say over 20%.
Yeah.
It's a high number.
It
So
is.
are we going to disenfranchise the 20% of women who, let's say it's at 20%. It might be more than that. I can't look at it.
I think it's over.
But let's pretend it's 20%. Let's just say
Okay.
it's 20%.
We're
Are we
talking
gonna-
about women that they've suffered severe trauma.
Yes. But let's are we going to disenfranchise 20% of women who were the victims of severe sexual trauma to appease the 0.2% of men, biological men who identify as women that want to use the restroom?
Yeah.
Like that's the crux of this question. Now, the whole thing about sports, the governing bodies need to deal with that.
What?
But this issue, to me, this is a broader issue about how we're going to victimize our women in our society.
How much of just these couple of issues, right, that are incredibly divisive? How much do you think? What percentage of the Democrats' loss do you place on those incredibly divisive issues? Like, is that half the reason why she lost? Is that 10% of the reason she lost? What do you think?
5% maybe.
It is 5 or 10.
I think the economy was what whooped her
I said,
ass.
yeah, people voted with their wallet.
How much of the voting public voted for Donald Trump because of the economy?
78%.
78%.
78% of the people who voted. 78% of the people who voted for Trump voted for him because of the economy.
Bob, I'll take 78.1%. Thank you.
You want the over? You can have the over. I'll give you the over.
It's okay. It's okay.
But I do think it's an insanely high amount. I think if the economy was doing really well right now,
right?
I don't think Donald Trump would have had a shot in hell.
I think that's
would
fair.
agree with that. I would agree with that.
I think it's fair.
And they'd pick somebody besides Cackles. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, and what was? Sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. Keep going. I'm gonna see if I can find an article.
Okay.
Actually,
I was just gonna say that I think the death knell of that argument is very, very simple. Although I've seen a few super strong Democrats, and what I mean by super strong is like they get on TV a lot, they talk a lot, and they're respected. I've seen a couple of super strong Democrats make this exact point, and it's not even so much your point, Kevin. 78% voted because of the economy. And the point that I got heard made was it was only about 60% of that group for that reason. The other 40% was based on one overwhelming fact, but still about the economy. And that was that they kept having it shoved down their throat that everything was fine and the economy was good. So it was the economy, yes, because people know where they stand when they go to the grocery store. And what really killed it for a percentage of people was this idea that you are not connected to me, and I do not want you as a leader. If you're going to tell me that spending $100 every time I go to the grocery store, it means we got a good economy. We don't. and I want a better economy. It's that whole idea of forcing it down people's throats. That there was I'm going to use the phrase because the Democrats made it famous, the big lie, right? That was the big lie that Democrats were perpetrating this election, that the economy was good. You're going to like $7 a pound for butter, you know?
Mhm.
So it's, and it gets back to this idea that if politicians would be honest with the American people, people would not feel the way that they do about politicians and politics. At least they would feel that they could have open conversations, but there's way too much deceitfulness within politics. And that goes for both sides, 100%, right? It's just that this particular time, a number of factors lined up, you know, like Democrats kept telling everybody, oil prices are the lowest they've been. Look at what Joe Biden's done for oil prices. Hey, dumbasses, Donald Trump had us energy independent and gas was averaging $2.56 a gallon. Stop telling me that oil prices are the best they've ever been. I just had somebody in one of the chat groups I'm in post a big piece of information today showing that oil prices are the lowest they've been and all of these things about oil prices. And on top it said, thanks, Joe Biden. I'm like, Duff, are you smoking? Right?
Well, great.
So
Oil prices are low, but they're not low here.
Well, and Joe
really
Biden
quick,
doesn't,
Paul.
the president doesn't affect that stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to give you the updated numbers because we were way off. According to the CDC, 29% of men and 53% of women are reported as victims of sexual violence. More than half.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Makes sense. I do believe that. Those numbers sound really good to me. Not in a good way, but in a bad way.
You might want to rephrase that, Paul. Those numbers sound really good to me, Paul says. Make that a promo, please, Dennis. Please, Dennis, make that a promo. Put that in the intro. 53% of women are abused, Paul. Sounds really good to me. All right.
I know that's right. Hey, listen, guys, I'm going to put you on mute. I'm going to go in here and get my son from wrestling practice. So,
all right, I'm going to take you off the screen. I'll take you off the screen till you come back.
Okay.
All right. We'll remove him off the screen just for a sec. All right. So anyway, listen, and Lila accused us of transphobia or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. No, I'm really not. I've said this before. I don't care what adults do. I really don't. So if you're an adult and you want to identify as whatever you want to identify, more power to you. Like, I want you to be happy and live your life, and you do you, boo.
Yeah, just don't interrupt the world around you with it. Like that doofus in West Seattle that was dressed as a tortoise. Did you see that damn video?
What?
There was this doofus in West Seattle that dressed. I wish I could find it. He dressed as a tortoise and was at a 4-way residential stop, and I recognized it because I worked on a house about 2 blocks from there.
Blocking traffic.
And yep, he was crawling back and forth like a tortoise, dressed as tortoise, holding up traffic. It was
West Seattle, you say?
West Seattle. It was ridiculous.
Makes sense.
It was ridiculous.
I'm trying to find it.
It was like a reel short or something. I don't remember if it was Instagram or X or Facebook.
Man dressed in tortoise stopping traffic. Hold on.
Ridiculous.
Is that the one you're talking about? This guy here?
That is the one.
Is that really?
That is, I'm serious. That is in West Seattle, like 2 blocks from the house I worked on.
All right, hold on. I'm going to share this screen really quick. We're not going to play the whole thing.
Ridiculous.
We're not going to play the whole thing, but let's
so that is not responsible adult behavior. I'm not okay with that.
Special.
So here, we'll share that for you so you guys can see it. So this is, I'm not going to play any sound with it because it looks like I don't know, but this is, hold on. I'm going to go back and there we go. So here's a dude.
That's right. She's speaking Spanish.
Yeah, I'm going to mute it. So here's a dude crossing the street dressed as a tortoise. And the random passerbys are like, oh, they're honking at him.
Oh no! If you see the whole, I didn't see this particular
the
clip
lady
of it.
Screaming at him, giving him the finger.
No, there were people that went out and like had to physically redirect him, and he behaved like a tortoise.
Well, she could get around him now, but that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, now she's out of the car. What is she doing out of the car?
Trying to redirect him.
That's wonderful. She's screaming
giving
at him,
a piece of her mind.
She could get past him now, though.
She could.
This might be staged for TikTok.
I own.
I bet you this is staged for TikTok.
I don't.
Oh no, she's turning him around. This is staged for TikTok. Come on, listen. Be better than TikTok. All right. When we get back, we'll bring Paul back on. We will talk about Ukraine in just a second. It's Outlaw Radio.
Network.com.
Every year, the malls are just a
This is the edited version.
full of empty pocket stops.
Might be.
Just
One of my favorite
We're
musicians.
about to find out.
And those colored lights are infantile. I think we collectively as a people should rise against this corporate jolly noise and tell the world, let's buy some peace and quiet for a change before we spend it all on toys. So buying trumpet ain't Christmas. You know where's it goes jingle bells.
If I ain't hammered, it ain't Hanukkah.
Those are my edits, by the way.
Oh, are those your edits?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did this version.
I should not love that song as much as I do, but I do. I love it. I do. I do. I love that song. Lila said it's because of the bigots and culture war that exploded in the last 8 years or so. The need to blame another is a need to explain change in the world. There is a population that would take rights away from people, like reproductive rights, which were lost due to ideological reasons.
I'm not lost.
Again, I don't disagree with Lila. However, there has to be room in the argument in the discussion for compromise.
Well, there's still,
And that's what neither party has embraced. Neither party has decided that they're going to compromise at all. I mean, Democrats showed that in the beginning with the abortion rights. Republicans have shown that now that they have control of abortion rights in many states. Neither side wants to find middle ground on this on the trans issue. I mean, it is what it is. And we should start electing people who will compromise, who will find middle ground. This whole thing the Republicans are doing, which, you're purple, you're a rhino. That's so stupid.
that's who I want in office.
That's what costs you guys the election every single year in this state.
I mean, to be honest with you, though, as someone who's neither,
issue.
I'm not DNC or GOP. I'm not happy with either of those parties. When you get right down to it, I want people who are purple.
Yeah,
I want them working together because they're middle of the road. They're more interested in the average American than some bureaucratic project somewhere.
Well, yeah, they're all getting rich off of it, though. I mean, look, they are all getting rich off their lobbies, and this is not one party. And Lila's talking about how the Republicans are the ones who don't want to compromise. Neither party wants to compromise.
No.
And I've said this again, and I'll say it again. Neither side wants to fix the issues.
No,
There is no money in it for them if they fix the abortion issue, if they fix the immigration issue, if they fix the prescription drug prices, if they fix drug abuse. Your mic's not on. If they fix any of those things,
they just lost fundraising.
they just lost money that people would donate to the party. I'm so outraged about the murder of Laken Riley by that illegal immigrant. I'm going to donate to Republican causes. I'm so outraged that they've taken away reproductive rights for women in Idaho. I'm going to go donate money to Democrat causes. There's no reason for them to fix it.
No, they would lose fundraising tools.
That'd be like, I go to work and they're like, we want you to come to work every day and work 8 hours. And my response is, I'm only going to work 5. Well, they're going to fire me. I'm going to lose my money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm motivated to keep working that 8 hours. These parties are motivated not to fix things.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because if they fix them, they're out of money. And when
Yes.
they're out of money, they're out of power.
Right. What?
Because you
Yeah.
can't run an election without. Paul talked about that the Harris campaign spent $1 billion and still lost.
And ended up, they spent $1 billion and they're 20 million in the hole.
Yeah.
So no,
And both sides are equally
Yes.
screwed. This is one of the areas I'll agree with Tom with is that other parties or third parties in this instance wouldn't be a bad idea. The problem is I fear that any other third party is going to do the exact same thing when they become a party in power. Human nature is to be, we're on Facebook only. Human nature is to be greedy as fuck.
Mhm.
yes.
That's human nature.
Why?
It's probably part of our DNA.
What?
It gets back to our caveman days
Yeah,
where there
it's
was
a
a worry
survival
about
instinct.
where there's a worry about whether or not you'd have enough food tomorrow, so you hoarded all the food today.
That is exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we as a species have not been civilized long enough to evolve that out of our gray matter.
Noggin.
Yeah.
Anna, we said, and why do we keep supporting these parties? Well, that's because they're the only parties we've got. I mean, you have to completely alter the social consciousness of this country to back any other party besides the two that are there. Well, because 95% of Americans
30 seconds
don't believe a third party has a shot, so they won't vote for him. You'd have to have it.
The two parties that are in power make it virtually impossible for any other smaller party to get any visibility or any time on a debate stage.
Yeah. Lilat said, don't naturalize a production of our society.
Coming back.
I'll answer that in a second. Hold on. Outlaw Radio.
This is Spike Cohen.
This is Jesse Young.
I'm Brandy Cruz, host of the Undivided Podcast.
And you're listening
to my friends on the Outlaw.
The
Outlaw Radio Network.
Outlaw Radio. So we're having a conversation on the Facebook side about societal change and the caveman mentality that leads to hoarding and selfishness and all of that kind of stuff. And I want to come back to this. So Lilat said that greed, like hate, is a learned and cultural thing.
It is not.
It's not.
It is not.
And the only reason I say it's not, I mean, it certainly can be learned, right?
Greed and hate are part of the 3 Fs. Feed, fight, and you can
Fornicate.
figure out what the last one is.
Fornicate.
Yeah. Which are human nature. I mean, and not only human nature, but primate nature. And whether you like it or not, human beings are primates.
Every single culture has dealt with this stuff. Aboriginal tribes, sub-Saharan African tribes, Europeans, Asians, South Americans, North American Indians, across cultures, boundaries, races, religions. Every single group has elements of hate and lust and what do they call when you try to kill off one race of people that aren't yours?
Tribalism?
No.
Genocide.
Genocide. It goes across the gamut. To ignore that it's not part of the human condition, I think, is irresponsible. Now, the expectation is, as learned people, we can rise above that, and we should be expected to rise above that. But to act like it is a product of our environment, it's the product of the human condition.
Yes.
And so it makes it that much harder to climb out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's part of your wiring and your DNA, the thing that's kept humanity alive for 100,000 years.
Yeah. And Lila says that's naturalizing, and something that isn't born with is learned. I don't know if it's learned or not. But either it's part of us as human beings we have to rise up against.
So,
or it's learned from the beginning and from our childhood. That's something we have to rise up against. But it's not unique to our society. It's not unique to the Western world or to white people or to Christians. It's not unique to any group, class, or strata of people. It is across every race, religion, color, creed, national origin, time period. The Romans did it. The Aborigines did it. The sub-Saharan tribes did it. The Mongols did it.
Go back further.
I'm just saying all of them did it.
Yeah. But
if you believe in the Bible, one of the brothers killed his brother out of jealousy for favoritism. Mm-hmm. If you don't believe in the Bible, it's a worthless story. But I'm just saying it's reflected throughout history, throughout literature, throughout everything. So it is part of who we are as human beings.
So you know what I think the confusion is the fact that we're pretty simple creatures as far as primates go.
Mm-hmm.
But when we figured out agriculture and that took care of food scarcity, and you've got thousands of years of evolution with no food scarcity or
Mm-hmm.
less food scarcity, that allows the brain to grow bigger,
Mm-hmm.
which allows you to do more. So now we're much more technologically advanced than we are evolved. And we get that confused. We're smart, but we're still dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the hiccup is. I mean, you sit down and talk to someone like, I don't know, Stephen Hawking, really smart guy. Talk to a room full of high school students. less enlightened,
Mhm.
more primal, more basic. I
Yeah.
don't know how you want to put it.
Now, I don't agree with what I think Lila is saying, which is, there are elements to this that we have control over.
As individuals, yes.
And,
As a
and I
group,
I would
no.
certainly agree with that. Individually, I can choose to let I'm not saying I have any, and I'm not saying I don't. I can choose to let my racial stereotypes influence my behaviors, or I can choose to work to get over those and see past them. I can choose to let greed run my life, or I can choose to be more benevolent in what I do with my money, right? I mean, those are all active choices, but you are fighting against some kind of a current.
Yes.
You are going upstream at least a little bit in a lot of those things based off of human nature and the history of generations. And your DNA, Democrats, you believe in science, your DNA is a roadmap of what generations before you went through.
Mm-hmm.
Your DNA does not come out of them into you as a blank slate with nothing there. I mean, what humans have endured throughout civilizations is ingrained in your DNA. Fight or flight is ingrained in your DNA. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Anoi said, bonobos are matriarchal primates and they don't war. They end up mating, but they are not as populous as their patriarchal chimpanzee cousins. Lila said, look into essays and other writings about greed, naturalizations, and philosophy. Again, I will once I get through this class that I'm in now. But just if you look throughout history, as a Native American, I can say this and not be called racist. Okay? We talk about the Native Americans in this country like they were somehow peace-loving people that never did anything to anybody else and were living happily in their teepees full of love like hippies and smoking the devil's lettuce, and they were never a problem to anybody. The Native Americans in this country before the white folks showed up practiced their own brand of genocide and war and greed and hate against other tribes.
And slavery.
And rape and murder. I mean, so I say all of that to say, let's not pretend that Whitey showed up and suddenly everything got messed up. Things have been messed up in human condition since the dawn of time.
See, here, this conversation here, right now, is what
getting you aroused?
No, it's what put Trump back in the White House.
Okay, explain.
Because this is a very, I would call it, progressive conversation, and most people will take this conversation and say that is the agenda of the DNC.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And this conversation is what's driven a wedge between the red and the blue, the left and the right, whatever. So this conversation is what put Trump back in the White House.
No, I'm
this and the economy.
I'm gonna go to the economy 80% of the time.
I'm agreed
because I think the average person doesn't give a crap about theological conversation or deep intrinsic like cultural reflection when they can't feed their kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when they're struggling how to fill up the gas tank to get to work, they're struggling how to get the food together to feed Junior. One thing I read 2 days ago is that some wicked large percentage, I don't remember what the percentage amount is, of people who were giving to the food banks that are now taking from the food banks.
Right.
They are no longer in a financial position to donate, and instead they need to utilize the services.
Right.
Which I'm fine with. You find yourself there, you use them. But that is what drives. And I don't think the average person cares about this conversation.
But the average person hears this conversation instead of hearing the conversation about how we're going to fix the economy.
Say that again.
Okay. The average person hears this conversation instead of the conversation about how we're going to fix the economy.
What specifically about this conversation?
I'm using just using the progressive talking points, right? The average voter is hearing that argument, that conversation. They're hearing about the progressive stuff,
and
they're
not
hearing about how are
nuts
we
and
going to
bolts.
fix the
Okay.
economy?
Yeah, and Lila even alluded to that earlier when she mentioned that the Democrats didn't even have policies this time around.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Kamala Harris did not, or Kamala, whatever, didn't even come out with any really defined policies.
Right.
Right.
It was almost like, and I don't think that's what it was. I think she got. I feel bad for her in a way.
Who?
Kamala
Harris.
Okay.
Harris, because I think this was her shot.
This
Yeah.
wasn't. This was never going to be her.
Well, no.
shot. She's part of the Biden administration.
Let me explain.
Okay.
This was her shot to be
chance.
president, her chance to be president. And instead of being able to do it her way, which may not have been any more successful, I'm not suggesting
Right.
it would have been, but instead of being able to do it her way, she got backdoored into it
Yep.
because Biden stepped aside or was pushed aside, however you want
Yeah.
to put it, at the last minute. She didn't have time to come up with her own policies because she was never supposed to have them. She was supposed to be running as Biden's sidekick, Biden's number 2. So she was
And-
never going to have her own platform or her own
Right.
policies.
Kevin.
And then she gets jettisoned to the front of the line way late in the game.
Yep.
And she had no opportunity to define herself, to refine herself, to state herself. She was too busy trying to undig the fact that she was Biden's vice president without any prep. Like
Yeah.
I feel bad for her in that
And-
respect.
And she wasn't given the opportunity to sandbag on Biden. She couldn't.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
the donor class was going to leave.
Yeah, so not
she
only
couldn't even
yeah.
acknowledge, hey, that was Joe's.
Not
doing.
only could she not come out and say, I hear you say that the economy sucks.
Right.
It's Biden's fault. It's this
Yeah.
administration's fault. She had to kind of nod and pretend like everything was okay,
Mhm.
which just dug her in deeper with voter.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for her, Tom.
Yeah.
Listen, let's pretend you get chosen to go to the national competition for fencing. No, even better than that, for distilling.
Okay.
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 You finally get to go there,
Yes.
but you get picked as an alternate.
Okay.
And you're picked 2 days ahead of time.
Fine. Okay,
And when you get there, you realize you're using subpar equipment because you got there last.
that's fine. I'm still confident. So
Okay, all right.
here's my.
You're missing my point.
No,
but-
here's my pushback on that.
Okay, push back.
Because he's ready, locked and loaded.
Okay, you study politics.
Yes.
Okay, you're not a politician.
No.
So
Never will I be a politician.
right, but we could probably argue that your average politician probably studies politics more than you.
No.
No.
I'm going to push back on that. They're studying politics 8 hours a day.
No.
You're at work 8 hours a day.
No.
You don't have all
Do you-
the time they do.
Do you think
No.
they're studying politics? Because I think they hire people to study
Yep.
for them. And who was it? Oh, it was Chris Gergen that
Yeah,
said this.
they're fundraising.
Chris Gergen said the minute you announce
Mhm.
you are fundraising and shaking hands.
Yep.
They're not
Kissing babies.
studying.
I'm talking. You're in
No,
office.
you're fundraising.
but you're in office,
You're fundraising.
Right.
Your staff, your
You're-
lobbyists.
you
you're still-
hire people.
right?
Yeah.
But you're still part of the political machine.
I'll give you that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You, Kevin,
Yes.
you have an 8 hour a day job.
10
so,
hours, but yeah.
Okay, 10 hour a day job. So 10 hours a day, you are not involved in politics at all.
Right. Office politics, but yeah.
Sure. but I could ask you, if I were to go, poof, Kevin, you're president tomorrow.
Mhm.
I know you have a set of policies in your head right now that
Yeah.
you would use, you would implement, you would want to push.
Yeah, but the difference though is that my policies make sense to me.
Well,
The refining of my policies to sell them to you and to Lori and to Dennis. Well, I couldn't sell it to Dennis unless it involved the word weed. But to market it to the American people,
Dennis has standards.
that takes time.
sure.
And she didn't have the time to compose that in a way that fit her candidacy.
She didn't have the policy either. She didn't even try to like mutter out some policy ideas.
Right.
She
That's
didn't
why
even try.
No, I think that
she
was
glommed on to Trump's.
I think it was
ideas.
by design.
Yeah.
I think what they told Harris was don't lose the election.
Yep.
They didn't tell her to win it. Right? This is like an NFL quarterback.
Mhm.
You can either go in there with the idea I got to throw the ball to win this game, or I got to not throw an interception.
Mhm.
And they didn't empower her. Now, maybe that could be on her, that could be on leadership,
Right,
that could be on her
yeah.
campaign team. I don't know who, but she was not empowered to win this election. She was told not to lose this election.
Yeah.
Because they thought, contrary to what anybody else has said, they thought they had this in the bag. And when she announced and her poll numbers went up and Trump's went down, they thought that was indicative of what was going to come over for the next 3 months.
Yep.
And then people got to listen to her talk.
Or not talk.
And then, well, she talked a lot about
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
She cackled nonstop.
Yeah.
But she never came out with a policy.
No.
And people come end of September, October, we're asking, where's the policy? Where's the ideas? Where's the plan? I mean, Trump is a whack-a-mole, but he's at least got some ideas. He said, I'm going to get rid of every illegal immigrant. Day one, I'm going to sign an executive order. And Kamala Harris was like, day one, I'm going to, I mean, that was the extent of her conversations.
I have a green lawn.
I have a green lawn. So I don't.
She cackled.
And listen, I'm not saying I like all of Trump's
No, I don't.
proposed policies, but at least he had some, so you could decide if you liked or
Right.
didn't like them. She didn't have any.
Agreed.
But again, I think Harris was in a no-win situation
From the get-go.
from the get-go.
Maybe.
I think the Democrat Party, looking back on it now, and I was really wrong. I thought she was going to win. But looking back on it now, I think the Democrat Party punted.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, it is so late in the game. We're
Maybe.
not going to put any of our young guns up.
They don't
And-
have any.
Well, no, they
they do.
believe they
They
do.
do.
They
Yeah.
believe They believe
Well,
Gavin Newsom.
Buttigieg,
They believe Gavin Newsom. They
Gavin-
believe
Josh
Buttigieg.
Shapiro.
Shapiro.
Newsom has bankrupted a state. He's got
AOC.
no chance in hell. AOC maybe. Buttigieg probably. Shapiro
Yeah.
probably.
But what I think happened was they looked at it and they said Biden is leaving way too early, or way too late in the game
Mhm.
for us to really be able to mount a viable campaign, for us to craft our narrative. Think about it. When people run for office, they announce 6 months before the primaries start.
Mhm.
They have time to build a narrative and share that with the people. Harris didn't have that. So I think looking back on it now, I feel like in a lot of ways the Democrats just kind of punted. They said, "This is what we're going to do. This is who we're going to put up,
What?
and we're going to hope it works."
I forgot
Nancy
about
said
this.
day one Harris was going to force the lids on coffee cups to be other than white. Did she really?
Yeah, she did.
What?
She did say
Oh,
that
for
in an
Christ's
interview,
sakes.
and I forgot about that.
Why?
Thank you, Nancy.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't
What?
know. I don't know.
Nancy Jr.'s back tonight. We missed him on Sunday. Miss you, Nancy.
Don't you two start.
Miss you, baby.
Don't you two
Miss you,
start.
sweetheart. All right.
Damn it.
Auntie Nancy and Uncle Kevin. Come on now.
Don't you two
Come
start.
on. Come on, Tom.
Ugh.
Anyway, she's not married, is she?
No.
Okay, I don't want her husband driving up from Texas to kick my ass.
No.
But listen, I believe the Democrats punted. I think they weighed the pros and the cons. What they basically said is, let's pretend they think Buttigieg is a guy.
Well, they had to punt though. I mean, they had Biden. Biden wasn't going to go back into office. They had no choice
No,
but to punt.
But there were much better candidates than Harris.
Oh, definitely.
Let's pretend they believe
The wor-
Buttigieg
worst
is the
thing-
guy.
Worst thing they could have done was put Harris in there because she's part of the Biden campaign.
Right.
Or
But let's pretend
administration.
they think Buttigieg is the guy. Does it make more sense to put him in a half-ass campaign that he's probably going to lose? Or does it make more sense to hold out for 4 years, get him ready, give him time to build a narrative, and then have him announced before the primary season and go through the normal process? Or do you sacrifice him to the wolves, have him get creamed in the election where he never runs for president again, and you've lost that talent, right? That's why I think they let Harris be in there. Because whoever
Makes
they
sense.
think is the golden child, and it's probably Gavin, whoever they think is the
Ugh.
golden child, they're going to hold off. And you watch in 3 years,
Mhm.
in 3 years, Gavin Newsom's going to step up. AOC is going to step up. Shapiro's going to step up. Buttigieg is going to step up. And here's all the young Democrats that we've been
Bob
waiting
Ferguson's going to step up.
for president.
Mhm.
No, he's
No.
No, he really thinks he's got.
no.
Oh,
We need an initiative in this state that says if you run for federal office, you need to resign your post.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Democrats will never pass it.
um,
Lila said they didn't punt. They really thought she would win with the Biden campaign staff. You have to remember that context. There was no primary. Biden said he would not run again and lied. Like there was a ton of things Harris just didn't do not to rock the boat. Now, I agree with the last part. She did not want to rock the boat or blame the current administration. And I
Well,
respect
it's
you. I'm
because
not
she's-
saying you're wrong. I just feel like Lila mentioned this a couple times in chat. How badly the Democrats hose themselves by not running like a candidate search at the convention. How badly did they hurt themselves by just saying, nope, Harris is our person?
Yeah.
I mean, they could have turned that convention into listen, I'm a media whore, okay? I'm a media whore. Can you imagine how much more viewership, how many more eyes, how much more attention the Democrat National Party would have come out and said, hey guys, we're in a historically important situation. Our defending and returning president is not going to run for re-election. We need to find a new candidate. We're going to extend the convention by an additional 5 days. And during the first 5 days of this convention, we're going to seek nominations, people to nominate others to be president. And then an internal committee will whittle that down to the top 5 or 6 people. They will all give speeches. They'll all give stumps. We'll seek out endorsements. And then at the end of that process, we'll then finalize together as a party who our person will be. Not only would that have saved them the embarrassment of just picking a candidate, but can you imagine the excitement all over the country that people would have had to watch that play out? It'd be like watching a WWE cage match. That would be edge of your seat television. And even schmucks like Paul, who hate the Democrats, would be tuned into that every single night for must-see TV. That would have been amazing.
Yeah. But didn't they come out of convention with, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Biden the guy at the end of the convention?
No, remember he dropped like right before the convention.
Was it right before?
Right before the
Okay,
convention.
it wasn't right after?
No, right before the convention.
Well, if it was right before, they should have had some sort of an electoral process.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was right before.
Yeah, it was right before.
Yeah.
And then they settled on Harris.
Yep.
Rather than running an open. And maybe, listen, maybe it would have all been a dog and pony show. Maybe they knew they were going to pick Harris from the beginning.
Well,
but why not? Why wasn't somebody in the Democratic Party? And these are media people, right? These are educated people. These are media savvy people. Why didn't somebody go, hey, I got an idea. Let's extend the convention an extra 5 days. Let's figure out a way to make it work. We got $1 billion in the campaign fund. Let's rent this space for another few days.
Yeah.
What do we got to do? Oh, there's an auto show here. Let's pay them $5 million to move their auto show somewhere else. Like, let's own the airwaves for 10 days. The public would be excited.
Maybe.
And you'd have came out with a contested primary and a candidate, and you would have been able to say we did this the right way. Even if you still picked Harris and it was a dog and pony show, it still would work. Hold on. More Christmas music, and then we're back after this. I'm holding off on Ukraine till Paul comes back, but I don't see where he's at. We might talk about it without him. Stick around, Outlaw Radio.
This is the Outlaw Radio Network.
I saw it. No, Kevin's not just reading Lila's comments tonight. I read Nancy's comments. I read other people's comments.
Did you now?
I have. I've read a lot of comments. But hold on, let's look at some other ones.
Because Corey
likes seeing live people in chat, crazy live in chat. I do too.
Yeah.
By the way, if you've been blocked on Facebook, but you still want to see the chat, you can watch it on Rumble. Because I don't believe the Facebook blocks work in Rumble because Rumble's an external program, but I don't know about that.
But I don't know if you can see the Facebook chat in Rumble.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, Facebook is right over here on the side. That's when people comment on Facebook.
Isn't that StreamYard, my friend?
Oh, yeah. StreamYard. Oh, that's
I don't know anything about Rumble.
Corey, I'll give you a StreamYard link next time. Remind me. The Dems didn't plan on Joe coming right out and endorsing her. They wanted an open primary.
Corey made it.
And not to reference Lila again, but Lila said the opposite, Corey. Lila said that The Democratic leadership didn't want Harris, but Biden endorsed her. And we're never going to know. But listen,
Biden did an in run on her.
Biden's not going to live to see 2026.
No.
You don't think so?
His health is failing.
Yep.
Like, I hope I'm wrong. I really do.
I haven't heard.
But I think he goes before Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter looks like a mummy.
Jimmy Carter, God bless him. Listen, he went
was
into
an amazing
hospice.
ex-president.
He went into hospice over a year ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
His wife went into hospice and didn't last 2 days.
Yeah.
And he went into hospice and has been there for over a year.
Yeah. He boy.
He has goals.
God bless him,
Yeah.
man.
I think he's I think he's one of the best ex-presidents.
Oh yeah. One of the worst presidents.
One of
Right.
worst.
One of the best
one of the worst.
One
but
of the
one of the
best
best
human
excellents.
beings.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Walker, they threw a ton of money at the wall and hoped it sticked. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, they did. They spent $1 billion.
They could throw a bunch of money at the wall of my house.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
Listen, if
easily-
they would have thrown even some of that money at my house, I'd have voted for.
10% for the big guy. Yep.
Yeah.
You're right, John. And Corey made a point that I was going to make earlier as well is Morning Joe, Minka Kelly or whatever, Brzezinski. I don't know. Sorry. Minka Kelly's an actress.
Mhm.
Minka Brzezinski.
Fitzpatrick? No, Minka Fitzpatrick is a defensive back for the Steelers. Sorry, go ahead.
And Joe Scarborough went
30
down to
seconds.
Mar-a-Lago,
Yeah.
bent the knee, kissed the ring.
Corey said there's an interview where Pelosi said that they wanted an open primary after he dropped. I would love to have seen it. Outlaw Radio. Hold on. Come back on AM. 3 hours to go.
Not.
Not even close, bud.
The older people, I know you're getting a little edgy right now, but you better get into me because I don't want to bum you out, but I'm the future of America.
This is the Outlaw Radio Network.
Good evening, my fellow citizens.
It's kind of stony, huh?
It's a real thing. A radio signal from another world.
Check this out. The United States government presents
The Outlaw Radio Network.
To provide guidance to mankind.
You know, if I ever ran for president, keep that music playing for a sec, will you? I would not. This would be my cabinet. You ready? Paul would have to be my vice president. He'd have to be. Sorry, Tom.
That's okay.
Tom would be Tom would be in charge of the ATF. Yep.
To provide guidance
Wow.
to mankind.
Machine guns for everybody.
Let's go.
Dennis would be in charge of the IRS. Yes. Isaac would be in charge of transportation.
Sounds.
Scooters for
I was going
everybody.
to say electric scooters for
Yep.
everybody.
And Lori would be in the White House kitchen cooking.
No. Toilet paper coming your way.
You'd make a good Secretary of State.
Kevin
Oh, I
Nelson,
would.
I nominate you for an award. Kevin Nelson wants a 24-hour show tonight. And Dennis said perfect. Dennis said perfect.
Nope, can't do it. Got to work in the morning.
All right. So job schmob. Who needs one of those? Me.
Me.
Okay. So we're going to talk about this now since Paul's not here because we kept saying we were going to talk about it. I do believe this is one of the bigger stories that needs to be talked about. And the mainstream media is not diving into this as deeply as they should be. But so Ukraine has received permission from the Biden administration to fire long-range missiles.
American made.
Well, we're going to get to that into Russia. So Ukraine's been firing missiles into Russia anyway,
Sure.
but they're not long-range missiles,
And they
it's
weren't
big-
American made.
And they,
Or maybe they were,
some of them
but they
were,
weren't
yeah.
long
Yeah,
range.
some
but they
were.
were not they were not long-range. So a lot of them have come from either NATO or the United States. But for the duration of the war up until this last week, Biden told the Ukrainians they couldn't have these kick-ass long-range missiles. Now, I don't understand why. Let me just be clear. The fact that Russia is crying over this is stupid because they have long-range missiles that they've been firing into Ukraine. I don't, that's how they were able to hit Kiev. So it's hypocritical, but it is war, right? But Biden gave permission this week for the Ukrainians to use the long-range missiles, and now Ukraine has been firing them across the border deeper into Russia.
They've been launching UK Storm Shadows too.
Yeah,
and those go even farther.
Yeah, and they're using the Army's tactile missile systems. Also, they're called ATACMS or ATACMS. That's ATACMS.
Yeah, I don't remember what an acronym is.
So the issue here is some within the Russian government, including Putin, have signified that this is an escalation. That at some level the United States has declared war. Now, Paul got information. And again, I believe Paul. I can't independently verify it. I wouldn't even know where to start. That in order for these missiles to be fired, they have to route their way through U.S. weapon systems. If that's true, then I completely understand what Putin is saying.
Oh, so they have to what, link up with U.S. satellites or something?
Or something. Some computer system.
Yes.
Okay.
They do.
That the missiles cannot be fired by Ukraine without support of a U.S., which would make sense, right?
Well, that involves us.
Yeah. And so if it does have to go through our systems and we are somehow tacit, then I would understand why Putin would take that track.
Yeah.
Now the question is how Putin reacts.
Didn't I hear, or am I losing my mind? Did I not hear that Putin and Trump had some sort of a conversation after Trump was announced as president-elect?
Yep.
Didn't they have some sort of a conversation in which Trump asked him to please not escalate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that too. Here's my question. If you're Putin, how do you not escalate?
He already has.
Well, hold on. How do you
not
not
North Korean troops?
Well, but that's not escalating. Not
It's
with us.
involving another country.
Not with us though.
No.
It doesn't escalate with us. It escalates
Right.
with Ukraine.
Right.
It doesn't escalate with us.
Right.
If you're Putin, how do you not escalate with us? If it's correct that American computer systems have to be used to launch the weapons, and the weapons are useless without our systems, and we're using our systems to launch the weapons, how are we not involved and complicit in missiles being fired deeper into Russia? Like, I'm not backing the Russians, but it's a really valid question.
Yeah, no, I mean, if they need our satellites or something from us to make the hardware we gave them work, yeah, that's.
And if you're Putin, can you wait 60 days? Remember, we're 61 days right now from Inauguration Day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you wait 61 days of missiles flying across the border if you're Putin? You want to look strong, not weak.
He's gone 2 years feeding 700,000 Russian men to the meat grinder.
Yeah.
Right. But the U.S. didn't escalate by allowing them to use our missiles and our computer systems to launch them. That's a significant escalation.
Right. But what I'm getting at though is if Putin's hoping to have some sort of a relationship with Trump, another 60 days of conventional warfare and sending more young Russian men to die is not a big deal to him. The guy's crazy.
Yeah. Corey shared in chat that Biden's reason to authorize was because the Russians had brought in North Korean troops. That may very well be true. Again, to me, North Korean troops doesn't matter to me. Because the North Korean troops aren't being used against NATO. They're being used against Ukraine.
Right, but Russia's running out of troops.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's another reason why Putin might be smart not to escalate. But that's a different story.
Right, yes. But I mean, Russia's running out of military-aged fighting men.
Mm-hmm.
And the veterans that are left, 52% of them are disabled now.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have anything left to work with. So he can tuck his tail and just go back to Russia. He can bring in another nation with their troops, which is an escalation ready. I mean, is it escalating with us? No. Is it an escalation? Yes. And we're kind of using, I mean, it's kind of a proxy war. So, I mean, we're involved because we're shipping money and arms. So
yeah.
But who's the proxy? I mean, I get it. It's Russia and Ukraine, but think about it. Is the proxy only Russia? Are we Russia, North Korea, China?
Well, I mean, and it came. I know Paul wanted to talk about
Get
this.
the tinfoil out.
Yeah. Oh, Paul's back.
Oh, is Paul back?
I see Paul.
I do.
There he
Yeah,
is.
thank you. Thanks
Paul.
for seeing him. I didn't see him.
And we're just getting to that conversation where, who is the proxy? That's a good question. And Paul threw a comment in our chat earlier about
hey, Paul,
China having cut internet access for Europe.
Yeah, Finland, Sweden, Norway.
Yeah, for I guess Northern Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and if
Paul, I muted your mic. I'll unmute yourself when you're ready, but you were clinking dishes and stuff together, so I didn't want to have that go out over the airways.
But yeah, I mean, if that turns out to be absolutely true, then China needs to be punished. And the best way to do that is very, very soon, some very, very harsh economic sanctions.
Stop shopping at Walmart.
Well, I don't shop at Walmart.
I'm just in general.
Yeah, but yes, that's a good way to do it. But I'm, very harsh economic sanctions, because that will remind China that they need to mind their P's and Q's, because they can't handle drastic economic sanctions.
The bottom line here, Tom, is that it was a Chinese ship that had a Russian commander. Exactly what the interrelationship there, nobody really knows. But what happened is the Norwegians captured the ship and are basically holding it hostage right now.
Good.
Nice.
As they should.
Oof,
Paul, we talked a little bit about the Russians' irritation, which is a light word, at the use of the longer range missiles. And I wanted you to talk a little bit, because you were the one that got the information about how those missiles have to go through U.S. computer systems and U.S. satellites before they can be launched. Can you speak to that a little bit more on the information that you have?
I can speak to what I was told. And the reason I dug into this is because I was listening to a podcast that was interviewing a United States, oh my gosh, what's the word? A diplomat. Okay. And that diplomat had basically said, as a result of the ATACMS rockets and missiles being used, that it was effectually a open season on any United States military target, including targets in the United States of America. So I was like, what is this guy doing? What is he talking about? Why would he say this? So I reached out to my son, and, because the units that are being tasked with that operation, he's stationed with them. He's in an offshoot unit, but it's his battalion, right? So he's there with them. And I was very concerned that here we had this diplomat who was on the public dime, essentially out there saying the way the ATACMS units, missile systems work is that essentially he said, look, the United States is not going to give access to the satellite systems, and satellites are what are used to plot 10-digit grid square coordinates. In other words, target with the ATACMS rockets. Okay. Mm-hmm. So those find their targets with satellite targeting packages. As such, you have a situation where he's out there saying, and the Russians know that, and as such, as soon as those ATACMS rockets got used, that meant that it was United States military personnel that were pulling the trigger. And so my first thought was, this dude should be fired and put in jail for giving out information like that. But I didn't know if it was true. So I reached out and I'm like, this is what this guy's saying. What's the truth behind this issue? And I was informed that effectually that is what occurred. But the United States personnel did not pull the trigger. That the Ukrainians pulled the trigger. The United States provided them with the targeting packages. They basically, it's like when you're teaching your kid to shoot, and you've got your hands on the gun, and your son's hands are on the gun too, right? And then you put your finger over the trigger, and you help your son pull the trigger. That's kind of what it was like. So we did it, but there's a little plausible deniability, a little bit, but it's not very plausible. Make sense? Because effectively everybody knows.
Do you agree with the assertion from some in Russia, including Putin, that this makes the U.S. complicit in fair game? I mean, I'm not asking, do you advocate him to attack U.S. forces, but do you agree that the Russians have a reason to be mad and take this as an aggression?
So listen, that's a great question. It's an easy answer. Okay. It's an easy answer. All I have to do is put it to you like this, Kevin. Would you, if the Chinese had 20,000 troops in Mexico, okay, and you watch those Chinese troops help Mexican troops come across the border, and you saw the Chinese teaching those Mexicans how to use artillery, and the Mexicans were using that artillery to bomb, the border on the United States side of the wall, you would say, China, what the are you doing? You're responsible for this just as much as the Mexicans are, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would, because we are. So, yeah, it was very disappointing to have to acknowledge that and recognize it. And you and I had talked at length on Sunday about how, look, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago when Barack Obama left office, he left people in positions to sabotage the Trump administration when they came in. Clearly, they acknowledged it. They admitted it. They created indivisibles specifically with the purpose of doing that. Well, this is a different way of doing the same thing. Oh, Donald Trump's coming into office. Ha, ha, ha. I'm still the only person that beat him. Kamala Harris lost to him, right? So this was his big middle finger. So he very well may have started World War III as a way to try to screw Trump, right? Because remember, part of Trump's campaign was, I will stop this war as quickly as possible, day one if I can, right? It's this conceivably could make it impossible for him to negotiate a ceasefire and stop this war. Thus, in Biden's mind, making Trump look like a liar right out the gate.
Do you think Trump is behind the scenes trying to keep things cooled down, and do you think Putin will listen to him?
Well, Putin hasn't been seen for 12 days. In fact, the last time anybody heard any word from him was when he had his telephone call with Donald Trump. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Don't know. Either he's trying to lay low until Trump takes office, so that way Trump can negotiate a ceasefire, or he could be planning something. There's no way of knowing. The United States Embassy was evacuated, right? Because go ahead, Tom.
There's also been what was it, a year ago, 6 months, whatever, into the Russian invasion of Ukraine. There was, I remember there was a lot of conversation about Putin's health.
Yes, it could be an issue with his health again too. Yeah, for sure.
You're not making me feel very comfortable, Paul.
Dude, I could imagine how I felt, because literally while I was on the phone to my son, I'm reading this article about, because we knew that those communication lines had been cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know who did it, but it was probably sabotage, just like the Nord Stream pipeline, which we blew up. And Germany has every right to have a beef with us about that, because it cut their gross domestic product. It cut their country's ability by 33%. It destroyed their economy for the last year and a half. Destroyed it. Energy prices through the roof. Inability to get natural gas. I mean, it just devastated their economy. And we did it. Our president did it. And I would honestly tell you that if Putin does what he's threatened to do, actually, it wasn't even Putin that threatened to do it. It was Medvedev, whatever, however you pronounce his last name. Yeah, who said that using the ATACMS or any of the other long-range munitions inside Russia would be treated as a threat and potential attack on the Russian homeland, thus giving them the right to use tactical battlefield nuclear munitions, which for those who don't know is you can load a small nuclear device on an artillery shell, and it will basically devastate 1 square mile. That kind of stuff. But it makes every U.S. and every NATO outpost and soldier, sailor, and airman over there a potential target. And to top it off, within the last 24 hours, the Storm Shadows were used as well by the Ukrainians. The Storm Shadow is basically an intercontinental cruise missile that the British make that's almost an identical copy of our cruise missiles. And the Ukrainians used those as well. So considering the munitions that have been used in the last 48 hours, if Putin doesn't respond in the next 24 to 48 hours, I would take that as a really good sign that he is trying to sue for peace behind the scenes. I don't honestly expect that to be the case, to be honest with you.
If he doesn't go nuke, he doesn't have a lot of options left. He's running out of troops. There's 700,000 dead Russian troops.
He has a lot of non-nuclear options left.
But he doesn't have a lot of manpower. He's got 700,000 dead Russian troops. And 52% of his vets, 52% of his vets are coming home disabled.
What kind of world do we live in, Tom?
Well,
a digital world, right?
World.
That's right.
It's a push-button world.
It's a well-known fact that the Russians have infiltrated our entire energy grid. So, as well as there's reason to believe that they've also been able to get into our satellite programs and other stuff. We've already had that problem once. So we know that they have the ability to mess with satellites, mess with other things. They could do a lot without firing a single shot, Tom.
But if they did anything with that, Paul, would that be considered an act of war?
It depends.
I mean, we've seen Russian hackers, not the government per se, but certainly encouraged, I would think, by the government. We've seen Russian hackers hack stuff before, and it hasn't elevated. We've seen that from the Iranians as well, that they've had hackers hack stuff before. Mm-hmm. Would that be the line cross?
Well, listen, in military lingo, you have what's called a probing attack, okay? And a probing attack is where you're doing something that's very nearly undetectable, but you're looking and you're probing for enemy's weaknesses, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They've done probing attacks on us for the last 4 or 5 years via the internet. It won't take much for them to shut down our internet. It won't take much for them to shut down our power grid. You see what I'm saying? Like, if they want to get us back, they can do a lot of nasty things without firing a shot, and they can consider it justified. That's what I'm trying to get across. I mean, I'm not trying to bust on you, Tom, but remember, you're the one who's made the point many times that the Chinese would never do anything. Yet here, the Norwegians have in their custody a Chinese ship.
And I was just actually going to support what you were saying, and I would say that, cutting a internet access to a region or a country, you could argue that's an act of war. I mean, it's an attack on an infrastructure.
You're right, and I don't know, because it cut off internet access for Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark. Right. And it also cut off their communication and phone contact to the Baltic states, Latvia, Estonia. And so it's basically, it was the lines that went from those Baltic states to the Northern European states. So yeah, it's significant, and it's enough for like I said, the Norwegians found that Chinese ship and immediately went out and captured it. Found out that it was basically during the best way I can explain it was during World War II, the Japanese used fishing trawlers and disguised them to make it look like they were just out fishing, but in reality they were spy ships. And look, this was the same kind of vessel for the Chinese, same kind of vessel. So it was disguised to look like a civilian vessel, had a Chinese crew, and then had a Russian captain. So, and if anybody wants, I posted, there's an insider that I follow that lives in Ukraine that posts videos on a regular basis about the war and what's going on there. So I posted his video. I also posted in our chat room for you guys, if you choose to post it, the interview with the U.S. Diplomat that was saying all that stuff. So if you guys want to post those, you can. It's up to you.
Okay.
I mean, it's incredibly relevant stuff, but we're talking deep dive stuff, and it's very boring for most people. But it's absolutely there. So, yeah.
If you were a betting man, Paul, what is the status of this by the time Trump gets in office in January?
So Trump's only message, Trump spoke to Vladimir Zelensky and he spoke to Putin, both of them on the same day, 2 days after he got elected. And he said to them both, his first major goal once he gets into office is to negotiate a peace, to negotiate a truce. Okay. Both parties said that they were down with that, essentially. Trey Yingst was in Ukraine our time this morning and interviewed Vladimir Zelensky on a train on his way back from the front lines. He brought the conversation up to Zelensky, and Zelensky said, "Hey, I'm all for it. Let's end this war." Okay. But then dude turned around and used the Sky Shadow and the ATACMS, right? So he used these long-range munitions knowing that it was going to set off the Russians. There's a weird game that's being played here that I don't think any of us are very much aware of. And I think maybe the Ukrainians are trying to push the Russians as far as they can. They're trying to push them to the brink to see how far they can push them without them responding. It would be pure tomfoolery to push them any further, in my opinion. But it puts Trump in a very bad position, because as soon as he comes in and takes office, he told them both, he said, don't escalate it. Don't escalate it, right? But they escalated it.
Is he prone, do you think, to back one side over the other, Trump?
I think he might be prone to backing Vladimir Putin. You know, Trump has always said you don't make friends with your friends. You make friends with your enemies, right? Mm-hmm. And I think Trump's greatest desire is to be, for his legacy, I think his greatest desire is to be a world or an international peacemaker, because he knows that's something that if he's able to accomplish and nobody will be able to take away from it, that will be a legacy. He did it with the Abraham Accords, right? He had peace in the Middle East. He had peace in the Middle East until Biden came into office, gave all that money to the Iranians that the Iranians then used to pass out to Hamas and other groups, and they used that money to attack Israel. But Trump had peace in the Middle East. Our president is the one who wrote the blank check to the Iranians that the Iranians then turned right around and divvied that money out to other terrorist organizations, right? So, you know, I think it behooves him to try to want to sue for peace. It behooves him to try to get peace in the Middle East. And I would bet that he pushes for a 2-state solution in Israel as well, to end that engagement. And then he'll probably use American taxpayer dollars to rebuild Gaza as well, because then he can look like a savior, because he does have a savior complex. I think that's pretty apparent to everybody. Nobody's ever built back, you know, place as great as I did it, right? I get things done fast when I'm building them, right?
Well, listen, it certainly doesn't sound optimistic at all. I asked this question earlier, Paul, in 2 minutes or less. Are you surprised that Biden is still even making decisions? I mean, assuming he's making decisions, some people in the chat have said Biden's never made a decision. It's all the people above him that are pulling the puppet strings. But are you surprised that he's still in there? That he's still got any authority to do anything?
No, because I think that would be acknowledging the obvious, right? All of I was listening to oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of his name, former football coach, Tommy Tuberville, okay, Republican congressman. And he made the point that, in his opinion, 3 years ago, he said 3 years ago, Biden wasn't cognizant. He wasn't aware to even be making those decisions 3 years ago. He said he could barely walk in private, and he had people holding his hand, and he couldn't go up and down stairs by himself, all this kind of stuff, right? So, you know, he's one of those guys that doesn't think Biden's been making any decisions. So if you listen to a well-known congressman like that, I mean, it gets to your point, right? What kind of decisions is he really making? But it also shows why Kamala Harris had no business running for president, because she's right there. And I've heard people say she had to protect her boss. I'm sorry. That doesn't fly in this world where your boss is the leader of the free world and has his finger on the button, right?
Yeah. All right. Hold on. So for those of you on AM, we're going to wrap with you now. For those of you on Facebook, we'll do a quick outro, wrap up, and get out of here. AM, we'll see you Sunday, 8 p.m. For those of you on Facebook, we're going to set a date for our No Politics show.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, ooh la la. So stick around. We're almost done with you, though. Outlaw Radio. I love when you play Christmas music, Dennis. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
I got a message from Paul on Facebook while he was not on the video camera, and he said he was really thankful for your choice of music. And I just think it's great. Anytime that Paul refers to me as Daddy, Dennis, from now on, you have permission to bust out the Christmas music. I don't even need to ask for it now. You hear the word Daddy, I hear the music of Christmas.
Sounds like somebody has a daddy complex.
Sounds like we're at a stalemate now, my friend. And Dennis, that is good year round. It could be March.
No.
It could be March. And Paul says Daddy, and you get to bust that out.
I've been known for lesser things, so why not?
I think it's great. Anybody object? I don't give a fuck. All
right, I do wholeheartedly. My ex used to play
Definitely.
the Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas music in June.
Dennis, cue that shit up.
No,
Oh,
no, please, no.
please.
What, Alvin and the Chipmunks?
No,
Oh,
no,
it
no,
was
no.
awful.
Play the-
Christmas
Please,
time
please.
is near.
I would hate for us to get a copyright tag. You know?
Grab a
Giardi
glass
Trio.
of Christmas cheer.
Giardi Trio.
Tom's a libertarian. Hey, so we need to set a plan for when we're going to have our no politics show.
Is that a Wednesday or a Sunday?
It's got to be a Sunday. It's got to be a 3-hour show.
Oh.
I
Yes.
think
We'll
we
make it a
should
daddy
do it.
free zone.
What?
See, now you're just banking daddies. So this is just going to continue Christmas
that-
music into
Whole
February.
different
That doesn't sound right.
connotation.
Banking
Yeah,
daddies,
well.
Paul.
Yeah.
As opposed to
Well,
spanking
might
daddies,
as well
which Paul
get
did in
my
the
money's
army.
worth out of it,
Oh.
right?
What?
Might as well get my money's worth out of it.
Paul, stop, please. We beg of you.
Tom, you're a grown man. You're a boy. You got cojones. Tell him to stop.
I've already asked
Stand
him
up,
to
Tom.
stop playing Christmas
Stand up.
music.
I've
Stand
already
up,
told you
Tom.
what'll
Stand up.
happen,
Walk
what
through
you
that
can
door.
do to stop it.
Walk through that door right in front of you and be like, Dennis, seriously, stop playing Christmas music. Stop.
Some are vegetarians. Tom's a libertarian. Sorry. I'm
What
gonna rewrite that song about Tom.
Oh,
Dun, dun,
God.
dun, dun.
What do you think of the 24th?
Of December?
No.
Oh,
November?
this Sunday?
Yeah.
Paul, what do you think?
It's the last Sunday of the
What?
month.
You want to do a no politics
Yeah,
show this
last-
Sunday?
Yeah, no politics show. That'd be good.
On Sunday?
Yeah, that's
This
fine.
coming-
No politics. Yeah.
Laura, you good with it?
Yeah.
Dennis, you good with it?
Sure.
You gonna be here?
Maybe.
Don't fucking lie to me, because you said last
Maybe.
Sunday you were gonna be here and then you never
I
showed
know I
up.
was going to. But
And I cried like a baby. Ask Tom. I was under this desk sucking my thumb.
I wasn't here.
Tom wasn't there, so.
Well, that sounds like
You
something
heard about
daddies do.
Oh yeah, Paul, you missed it. They were embracing.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
have no doubt. Yeah.
I was so happy to see that Tom was here. I told him about how hard it was to do a show with just you last week. I
Oh,
cried.
that's just not nice.
He patted me on the back of the head. He comforted me. There, little K dog.
Big spoon, little spoon, standing up.
There, little K dog.
I'm always the big spoon. I am always the big
Dennis,
spoon.
Dennis, do you feel left out? Do you want us to come snuggle you?
No, I'm good. All right.
Damn you, Dennis.
It's that time of year.
When I had to do my 8 years in the Mexican prison, I was the big spoon.
Yeah, but he meant a
scary.
ladle. He met a ladle. Met the ladle. All right.
That was funny.
Dennis is the ladle. Oh yeah, if you need Christmas gift ideas, people love things from Outlaw Radio and people love things from Black Ring Spirits. What I suggest you do is buy some Black Ring Spirits, put it in a gift bag with an Outlaw Radio Network T-shirt and a G-string, and you guys will have just a great Christmas Eve.
And if you really
that's a great idea.
use an Outlaw Radio Network tote bag.
We have tote bags.
We have tote bags.
We have tote bags and
We
G-strings.
Briefs.
Oh,
Bags with
men's
the
briefs.
whiskey is a great idea.
So Kevin is taking people down a weird rabbit hole then with the Outlaw Radio Network.
Well, I mean,
G-string.
you can buy the briefs and customize at your own
Sure,
leisure.
okay. Scissors work.
Scissors and some string. Dental floss.
Kevin
works
just uses
too.
the dental floss, licks it, sticks it to the crack of his ass.
Hey, you guys wait till April when I miss a whole bunch of shows in April because I'm going on a cruise. I'm gonna buy one of those Borat
Mankinis.
Oh yeah.
Mankini sling.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
I'm gonna buy a
Wait,
Borat
wait,
Mankini.
But if you show up in one of those, Daddy will be the worst or the least of your worries.
I'll be on the cruise. I'll be on the ship.
Yeah, but where are you cruising to?
I don't
So we're
care where
cruising-
you're at, but if you show up to the studio wearing one of them banana hammock mankini BS things, literally, you'll be begging me to call you Daddy when I'm done with you.
Wow, what are you gonna do to me, Paul? That sounds almost dirty. Dennis, are you listening to this?
Yeah.
Paul is threatening to do naughty things to me.
Pay-per-view coming soon.
Paul, wait till you see my OnlyFans.
We gotta put in our own Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. Only ain't wearing no gloves, man. No protection for Kevin.
Sure you don't want surgical gloves?
With all the kids I have, I don't know if I ever use protection. All right, so listen, Linda. Anyway,
Linda.
I
thought it was
who's
Karen.
Linda.
Has Karen been replaced?
Getting his block knocked off.
What were you gonna say, Tom, a minute ago?
I don't know. What
You're about
what
to
were we
say something,
talking
but
about?
Paul was talking about wanting to do naughty things to me in my One Piece.
I might have maybe been talking about upcoming ugly Christmas sweater kind of things. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we need to dress appropriately.
Oh, I already have your
On
outfit.
Sunday. You have you have an outfit for me for Sunday?
Well, for Christmas, for
Okay.
you and Paul.
So when are we going to dress up for
That's a
Christmas?
little creepy.
The 22nd?
Well, I don't know. What
That's
does-
a Sunday before Christmas.
Sure.
Should we
Let's do
dress
the
up that night?
22nd. Sure.
Okay.
So I've got your shirt,
So we doing?
bring pants, and then Paul, I've got your shirt.
They never wear pants.
Okay.
Please wear
No,
pants.
I'm
Paul wears a skirt in the relationship.
all I would say though is that if there's a lady that's dressing Kevin on a regular basis, I don't know, Daddy's probably appropriate.
Oh no.
Paul, she just said she was dressing you too. Like you're
Oh, yeah,
stretching
but I
for
don't-
these
but I don't
jokes just
know.
to use the word daddy.
Look,
One of us
first
has a
of all,
daddy complex, and it's not me.
And Paul, you'll like your shirt.
right. You have good taste, Lori. I'm sure that I will like the shirt. I'm sure that I will. I will wear it with pride, no matter what it says.
Oh, and
Even if
Paul.
it's-
I'm just
even if
imagining
it's an
Paul in the
arrow-
tank on the
an arrow
battlefield.
and it says "I'm with Daddy" and it points to the.
I'm just imagining Paul in a tank on the battlefield. And what is the tank commander called? Or is it just like, does he have a title? Or
I think
It's called War
Commander.
Daddy.
it's not a war daddy?
I think it's Commander.
Okay, let's
It's
say it's
tank
commander.
TC.
Tank commander, yeah.
Tank commander.
Yeah. But Paul's like tank commander daddy. I mean, come on. That's where this came from.
And
You're
does that
missing
count
your
as-
days of
does
having a
that count
daddy.
yourself daddy?
With
Hey,
a
does that
big
count
gun.
as you calling yourself Daddy? Is that how that works?
Daddy with a big gun that you had to ram things into. All right, whatever, Tom.
I'm gonna
Whatever,
find
Paul.
some random woman to call the show and just be like calling you Daddy. Hi, Daddy.
Didn't
Don't
those
you
big
remember
guns have to
when
use
I
a
was in the bar,
That
Daddy?
would be amazing.
Didn't-
Dennis, are you listening?
didn't
We
those
need to
big
have
guns
women
use-
call and
Oh, don't you-
record?
Don't you
saying,
dare.
saying daddy
Didn't
to Kevin.
didn't those big guns require a lot of lubricant, Paul?
No, none whatsoever.
Whatever.
We wrong dogged it.
Liar.
Wait, we're getting
You
into
raw dogged it,
Diddy.
didn't you?
We're getting into Diddy territory. Let's stop.
Paul raw dogged it there in the army.
Oh,
All right.
hey, is Diddy an acceptable topic for this coming Sunday?
Yeah, that's social.
I think so.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
to
I
be
think so.
honest, I know almost nothing about the Diddy situation.
Sure.
Well,
He doth
Diddy and Daddy.
protesteth too much. I bet you Tom had keys to the mansion.
What, Diddy's mansion?
Diddy's mansion.
If I had keys to
There you go.
Diddy's
There you go.
mansion,
Or the tunnels.
or the tunnels? There's tunnels?
There's a song about
We
it.
know what.
Listen to Eminem.
I've
Boy,
got most of his
Eminem's been
music.
warning us about Diddy for years, too,
Yes,
by the
he
way.
has.
I've
Nobody listened to Eminem.
And now they know.
All right. We're going to cut a commercial really quick. So, Paul, I'm going to mute you.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna ask
okay. I'm
Dennis to
gonna get
mute
on.
you.
I'm gonna sign off.
Okay. Do you have parting
Bye,
shots,
Paul.
Dennis? You have parting shots to say, Paul, before you leave?
No. I'm good. You guys did most of the show tonight. Good job. Good show.
Have a good night, Mammy.
Love you guys.
See you,
Bye,
Mammy.
Paul.
See you,
All right. Good night, Daddy.
Mamacita.
Mammy? What?
Mamacita.
Wow.
I'm so confused.
He might call me dad, but he's my bitch.
I'm so confused.
Paul. Jackass. Hate him. Hope he dies in a fire.
You love him and you know it.
Hope he dies in a fire.
Damn.
That would be a shit way to die.
Yeah, it
John
would
said eggs should be under $2 a dozen by Easter. No, they're not going to be.
be amazing if they were.
Because I always buy a 5-pack of eggs when I buy eggs because I got kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
the 5 dozen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go through just eggs like water.
Yep.
And
Same.
$20.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Like 18 something at Walmart for a.
Well, stop shopping at Walmart. Why are you doing that?
Because it's cheaper at
No,
Walmart
it's
than anywhere else.
not.
Where would you
Costco.
get eggs cheaper?
I get my eggs at Costco.
I'm not
for
driving all the way to Costco to shop all the
$11.49.
time.
Well, maybe you should read.
I'm just saying, Costco is all the way in Silverdale, and I live all the way in BFE.
Or Gig Harbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Gig Harbor.
I live up
By
the
the
hill
way,
from you.
can I
I
ask you
go
guys-
to Costco
can I ask you
every
guys a
2
question?
weeks.
Dennis, do you go to Costco at all?
I visit now and then.
Okay.
But I'm not a member or anything.
Why is it? He said member. Why is it when I walk into the Gig Harbor Costco,
Yeah.
I feel like I've somehow made it to the other side.
The other side
Like
of
now
what?
I know what it feels like when the East Germans made it to West Germany after World War II.
Because
Like-
Gig Harbor is baby Bellevue.
Yeah. And I feel like I've stepped up in the world. Like I left the dregs of Kitsap County and their awful Costco in Silverdale to go to Gig Harbor, where I expect them to have a band playing out front and serving caviar and crackers on the way in.
Wow, you have high expectations.
Mhm.
I will say that I get more smiles and highs from people when I'm in Gig Harbor Costco, and I don't know anybody there.
Lila said ugh, and I don't know why. Why did you say ugh? Did you say ugh because we said something wrong? Or did you
No,
say ugh because you're wearing Uggs?
No, because the talk continued on.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I let my Costco membership go. I just didn't. It's a half-hour drive one way,
Yeah.
either Costco, and I just don't have an hour plus shopping time in my
Man.
day.
If you guys,
Worth it for
see,
gas.
I grew up my
I
children.
drive an EV.
I know.
I
but
raised
for
my
me-
children in Stanwood, where it was a half hour to anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm used to it.
You raised your children in Stanwood, where there are more horses and cows than people.
Well, when
Oh,
we
Lila
were
said
growing
ugh
up,
to the Christmas music.
yeah, when we were growing up, yeah,
Lila said the Costco Silverdale is 30 years old. It might be, but it just
Yeah.
feels nicer when you walk in there.
Silverdale, yeah,
No,
Silverdale
no,
or
Gig
sorry, the
Harbor?
one in Gig Harbor. I mean, feels nicer when you go in there.
Man, they
yeah.
both feel like Costco.
I don't know, man. I've never wanted to fornicate with a display more than I have in the
What in the
the
world?
Gig Harbor Costco.
That's a whole you thing.
Um,
Just see a Christmas Minnie Mouse sitting over there, and I'm like, oh,
If you see Kevin at Costco, just let him be.
Yeah.
in his
Ke-
element.
Kevin, Kevin,
yes.
support your small businesses. Shop at your mom and pops.
Well, I do shop at small businesses sometimes, but I hate to say it, but small businesses need to do a better job of being competitive in their prices.
That's a hard conversation. Definitely not one to start right now. But I get what you're saying, but if you're Costco, you can buy in such massive quantities
Mhm.
that mom and pop ain't going to compete with that.
Right.
No, that is true. But then small business needs to do better at other things.
I agree with that.
Small business needs to be better at customer service.
Yeah.
And they're not. They're not
No,
for the
they
most
are.
part. No, for
I
the most part, they're
disagree
not.
with
I
that statement
disagree.
wholeheartedly.
Which statement? That they're not, or that they should be?
That mom and pops aren't good at customer service.
Generally, customer service has gone to shinola.
Where?
Where?
Everywhere.
Not here.
Like where?
Everywhere.
Yeah, but I mean,
Not at Black Ring Spirits where customer service is top notch.
What about Harbor Hot Dogs?
No,
Willow
what
Treats.
what kind of business are you talking about? I'm not asking for
Retail.
a specific business.
Well,
but like
retail.
retail,
Local retail. Everybody in retail is surly. And if you don't want to be in retail, then get the fuck out of retail. But if you're going to work at small business retail, you need to be happy when people get there.
Yeah.
You need to be like, oh my God, they chose me over Target. Like, you should be happy. It feels like you're pulling teeth to get customer service out of anybody.
I think that maybe employees of small mom and pops and man, finding help is so hard.
I get it.
Finding help is so hard. So
I get it. But listen, if you want me to pay more, then give me a reason to pay more.
Oh, agreed.
Right.
Agreed. I mean, ultimately, it should be your end product. Because I will not shop at Walmart because I for a whole myriad of reasons, but for the most part, it's the customer service. I will not shop there.
Right. But I see.
My
thought is that
and their
Walmart-
prices should entice me to tolerate their awful customer
That's
service.
what my thing is.
But I won't do it.
I shop at Walmart and I expect to be treated like a blumbering idiot who doesn't really matter. That's what I expect when I go to Walmart.
Yeah,
but I'm saving so much money going to Walmart, I can endure the poor customer service.
I can't do it.
If you want me to go shop at a small business, then you need to be better. If you want me to go to your restaurant or we're going to a chain, maybe your food isn't going to be better.
Oh, it's got to be. It's got to be.
Maybe it's going to be even. Let's say it's even.
Okay, even's fine.
But you want me to pay more, then your service better be great. Your tables better be freaking clean. Your wait staff better smile when I get there, instead of looking like they just got out of the meth train. Okay? I'm serious.
Damn.
Wow.
Damn, where have you been going, Kevin?
What? See, and Lila,
you?
Listen, I appreciate the comment, but this is what's wrong with it. Why? Here's what Lila says. Why should service workers even care? They pay service workers terrible and siphon money from our local economy. Local mom and pop is better, but still not good enough. Service workers should care because they get a paycheck. Like, if you do a job, care about what you're doing. And if you don't like it, like, I will never work retail. I worked retail for a long time. I will never do it again. I will live in a cardboard box under a bridge with a guy named Bubba before I work in retail again.
You're going to be a little
because I understand I'm going to be the ladle. I'm going to be the spatula. If you're going to be mom and pop business, you got to be better at something than big business, and you're not going to beat them on prices. So beat them on quality and beat them on customer service.
We have to beat them on the thing you are selling, right?
Yeah.
You've got to sell something unique and different that you can't get at pick your big box corporate.
Like insurance. I like local insurance. It's the same product as national, but I have a local person I can talk to. I can sit across the table from and ask questions of instead of calling an 800 number for Geico and talking to a fucking lizard.
See, insurance drives me crazy.
No, I hate it too. But Lori,
Anyways, to round out this lovely conversation,
are you shutting this thing down? Is that what you're doing?
Black Friday.
Don't make it racial.
Black Friday on the
next
day
we'll talk
after,
about White Tuesday and
day after Thanksgiving.
Asian Thursday. Okay, go ahead.
Town Square Mall will be open at 8 a.m. for your shopping pleasure.
Ooh.
Harbor Hot Dogs will be serving breakfast dogs.
What?
Yeah.
On Black Friday?
On Black Friday.
What would be? Have you figured out what's in a breakfast dog?
No, I asked them today.
Alex
they
and Guy are going to come up with something crazy.
Yeah, but they don't have it solidified yet.
Oh, they have 2 off-menu hot dogs. They're good for like 2 weeks or whatever that are in cycle right now. They're so good.
And then Willow Treats, which is for cat and dog parents, I guess you would say.
Yep.
They'll be open at 8 a.m. I'm going to
Is Black Ring Spirits going to be
Vinyl
open at 8 a.m.?
Injection?
That's my
Vinyl
question.
Injections, the record store.
Yes, they're going to be open at 8 a.m. so you can peruse and get your Black Friday specials.
Do you know
and
if Collector's Haven?
We didn't say that name, or he didn't say that name
Okay.
when we were talking this evening. And then also the jewelry store.
Oh, Exclusively Brilliant. Molly's
Thank you.
really cool. She's a super cool
Exclusively
lady.
Brilliant will be open at 8 a.m. And then
You know what I want to do? Dennis, tell me if we can do this. I would like to ask every business owner in the mall to come up here.
Yeah.
And cut a liner. You know, we use liners like, this is State Representative Jesse Young, and you're listening. I would love it to be like, this is Harry from Vinyl Collection in the South Kitsap in the Town Square Mall, and you're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network.
Yep.
I think that'd be freaking awesome if we did that.
Oh, I bet Jerry would do that.
So let's network with people, and we'll try. It's gonna have to be when Dennis is here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to try to get multiple people to do it at the same time.
Yeah.
We can't just trickle in everybody one at a time, because Dennis is just not going to live down here just for this stupid project idea of mine.
No.
But I think it'd be great. And we can still get our politicians to do it too. But I think it'd be great if we had, this is, what are their names at Harbor Hot Dogs? What's the guys' names?
Oh, it's Alex and Guy.
Yeah. This is Alex and this is Guy. We're with Harbor Hot Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were on King 5 News.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know
They're not bigger than we are, though. They need to stop.
Yeah.
They got best new restaurant in Western Washington for 2024.
As they should have.
That was really cool.
I think it's nice that King 5
Came
actually
over.
remember that people live over here.
Yep.
Lila talking about Safeway. It said that Safeway was good 20 years ago. However, they have the cheapest gas in Kitsap. They don't, Lila.
Ooh, Jane, Buy Mart opens at 5 a.m.
Oh my God, Jane, do you have to be there at 5 a.m.? I don't
Jane,
think
I'll bring you breakfast.
I don't think Safeway has the cheapest gas in Kitsap. I think Costco does.
Well, it depends. If you have rewards on your
Oh,
Safeway
that's true. If
card.
you have rewards,
Yeah.
you can beat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate Safeway.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I like.
Why
Fire.
do they have a card? So I can get discounts. And then that card isn't even good enough to use their stupid digital coupons. And I have to use my phone to scan the digital coupons to get the digital coupons. But if the Wi-Fi in their Safeway doesn't work, the scanner doesn't work on your freaking phone, so you can't scan the digital coupons. Like, if I have a card, why do I need to do anything else? Why can't I just get the best price possible? That's why I don't go there anymore. I go there to buy meat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go there to buy my steak. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, Buy Mart. Gosh, that's a store that's like Hobby Lobby for me.
Buy Mart is?
Yeah.
I like Buy
There's
Mart.
just I could spend an hour or two in there looking and then deciding.
Lila says Safeway wants to track your shit. Safeway
Yep.
sucks.
Yep.
Jane will be there at 8 o'clock. I've heard a rumor, by the way, if you go into Buy Mart on Black Friday and say Jane sent me, they'll give you 75% off everything you buy.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
No.
But nice try.
Did someone lie to me?
I think someone lied to you.
Thanks, Paul. Paul lied to me.
Or it was a wild imagination.
No, Paul. That's what Paul told me.
Okay.
Paul said if you go in there and mention and say Jane sent me, you'll get 75% off your order at Buy Mart on Black Friday. And a free back massage from the janitor named Joe.
And
Joe.
we're back to Big Spoon, Little Spoon.
All right. And the spatula. Dennis, do you have any parting shots? We'll do the parting shots and I'll cut this commercial for you.
Cooperate for kids. Be
Jane-
cool to one another. Don't kill nobody.
Jane said best she can do is 10%. So drop her name 8 times. All right.
10%.
Jane's going to hate me before the show's over. Implying she doesn't hate me already.
Does that work on certain,
Beads?
accessories?
Beads?
Accessories.
Oh my God. Lori's beads should be in Buy Mart. I can just see a little corner display like on an end cap with all the beads hanging down there and Lori's face holding up beads like, give the gift of love.
And a picture of you and Tom embracing Big Spoon,
Mm-hmm.
Little Spoon.
Lori's beads brought us together. All right. Dennis, sorry. Did you have any other parting shots?
Nope.
Hey, can I be honest with you about something, brother?
Huh.
I miss you when you're not here.
Oh. Well, thanks.
I love you very much.
Love you too.
And I think you need to be here on Sundays now as well. Not to do anything, just to be here so I can see you. All right. Jane said yes, whatever yes means.
Oh, nice.
It's hard
Thanks,
to tell.
Jane.
It's hard to tell what yes means.
That's what I needed to hear.
What is that?
Now
Do
that
you hear that noise?
yeah, they're
It's a
resurfacing
concrete
the
grinder.
floor.
Do they know we're doing a radio show in here?
Well, the doors
Yeah, we have
open.
all the doors open now.
Yeah.
Are you going to go shut up so we can do the commercial?
I will.
Dennis has got it. All right, Lori, do you have any parting shots?
You know what, people? Thanksgiving's coming up. No matter how you voted or how the rest of your family voted, or even your friends, if you're far away from your family and it's Friendsgiving time, please, if you can have civil discourse without everybody hating each other, go for it. Otherwise, there are some great games that I'm going to start posting on my Facebook page. Feel free. Non-beer beer pong, or if you're older group, do the beer pong.
Beer pong is for breakfast.
Whatever.
Play
Anyways,
bourbon pong.
Oh,
Much more fun.
Holy crap. That's for those of you who are really well trained in the alcohol arts. But yeah, have fun. Play games, reconnect, and love one another. Because at the end of the day, Daddy Trump or Mama Kamala live in your head more than in your heart or in your life. They don't even know your name.
Yeah.
But the people who come to your house or the house that you're going to, they know your name. They care about you. They are invested in you. Not, well, I can't speak to financially, but just emotionally. So have some cheer and some goodwill towards everybody. That's it.
Kumbaya, my lord.
Yeah,
kumbaya. Okay. Tom?
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Hell, I'm gonna.
Would you close that door, Lori? I want to see if that minimizes the grinding.
I'm gonna toot my own horn. Black Ring. Huh?
You know what jumped to my mind when I said that?
What?
There ain't nothing wrong with the little bump and crash. Sorry. Go ahead.
Let me see here. Right before, the first week of December, Black Ring Spirits is going to have most of our whiskeys back on the shelf. We've been a little bare for a little while, and by Thanksgiving, I should have all my clears back. We'll have a couple of vodkas, and we'll have a nice gin. So the shelves will be restocked. They've been woefully bare for longer than I like.
Yeah, Alex was talking about your gin.
Yeah, Alex. So I haven't talked. We can talk about this on Sunday. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great conversation that's not political.
Okay. My parting shots is that it was really nice to have Tom back in studio tonight. I never realized how much I appreciated Tom being here until I had to do a show with Paul again by ourselves. And then, wow, it's kind of like getting like the proctologist exam, the finger in your ass without without anesthetic, or what is that called?
Anesthesia.
Anesthesia, yeah, like a local numbing agent.
Well, there's a
Tom
difference.
is the local numbing agent. Tom is the finger in my ass.
Not only is Tom the
hold it,
big
hold
but
on.
he's the finger.
Paul is the finger in my ass, and Tom is the numbing agent.
You're calling me for said?
Yeah. Otherwise, we love you guys. We'll see you at 8:00 on Sunday. No politics show. We need to make sure Andy knows so she can do graphics for it. But no politics the entire night. We'll play some Right or Racist.
Perfect. Thank you, Lila. She said that the noise isn't being picked up on the mics.
Yeah. So skip the commercial.
Skip the commercial. We'll do it Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's super.
When's it?
loud.
It's not due till Monday, so we can do it. I'll come in a little bit early Sunday if you want to come in. All right.
And
it's very
Jane,
loud.
thank you. I will be coming to see you. Great sales on guns and gun safes. And guns.
Is it true that you don't have to do a background check if you buy a gun from them? You just walk in there, pick it up, take it home the same day. Is that true?
That is so false.
Is that true?
Oh, hey, guess what? Washington finally got
what?
The
Background
court
checks are
systems
moving?
are back up. Yeah. We haven't been able to hire people. People haven't been able to get guns because of background checks. For how many weeks? It was like a week or two before the election.
Yeah,
I think.
we're like 2.5 weeks in or something. I'm sure Jane can be much more accurate about that.
I mean, I'm sure there's a 2A violation there somewhere.
Yeah, I haven't felt the need to purchase a new firearm in a long time. I have a gun safe full of everything I want.
You better get on it. We're about to go to war with the Russians.
I've got a gun safe full of everything I want.
All right. I'm not going to make any jokes about buying guns because the ATF will be at my house in 12 minutes. All right. That's going to end the show. Laura will take us out, and you guys have a great day. Thanks for checking out the show and supporting it. We love you. Good night.
Good night.
See ya. Lori, get back in the kitchen.
No, you're in the kitchen.
Make me some breakfast, bitch.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.